in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live.
Right now.
Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul Sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, New York.
Brooklyn.
All my people, you rocking with the chat.
Hit that.
That like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. This is the Just Knickin' It weekly show where we talk about all the storylines related to the New York Knicks since we last met. And we have a lot to talk about. I think the last time we was here, the Knicks were coming off a 2-2 West Coast trip. They were able to salvage the West Coast trip with those last 2 wins. Now we coming back having lost our last 3 games. You know, I think at one point we were talking about the 4th seed. Now we're talking about avoiding the play-in. So we're going to talk about that. We're gonna spotlight Quentin Grimes, who had a really good week, especially the last 2 games and what that means for us in the playoffs. We'll talk about Julius Randle as well. Can we trust him going into the playoffs? Is the technical foul that he got yesterday being overblown? Is it being minimized? We'll talk about that as well. So let's get right into it. I'm going to bring in Jarrell and Ajay, resident panelists for the channel. How you guys doing?
Salute, Steph, salute, Ajay, salute to the chat. Geraldine, Kareem, I already said salute to a couple of them already. Yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting show. We've been 0-3 since the last show, so it's gonna be interesting and a little volatile, I'm guessing.
Right. And listen, since we went 9-0, we've been 3-6.
Yeesh.
I didn't even realize that. Since that 9-0 winning streak, we've been 3-6. Randall has picked up a technical foul in each of the last 3 games. I wasn't aware of that. And our defense over the last 10 games have been 20th out of 30 in the league. So we got a lot to talk about. Listen, let's just get right into it. I think last week, many of us, if not most of us, was pretty confident that the Knicks would finish in the top 6 no matter what, right?
Yeah.
We've lost 3 straight games. We lost to Minnesota. We lost to Miami. We lost to Orlando. Listen, I thought Miami was a possibility to lose, and obviously Orlando is not a great matchup, for us. They beat some quality teams. They beat Boston 3 times. They beat the Clippers. They beat Denver, if I'm not mistaken. So they've beaten some quality teams. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think this was going to be a pushover game or an easy game, especially, in the second half of a back-to-back. But coming into this week, I did not think the Knicks would go 0-3. So, do you still feel as confident as you felt last week that the Knicks will finish in the top 6, or do you have some concerns?
Yeah, to be honest, I'll go first. Yeah, I feel confident still that we'll finish in the top 6, but the 5th seed, not so much though, if that's the question. But yeah, top 6, yeah, I still definitely think we'll make top 6. Brunson should be back, hopefully, wishful thinking. But yeah, I expect Randall to at least try to get it together in the next couple of days. So like they have off all weekend and don't have a game until Monday. So hopefully having the weekend off will recharge the batteries a little bit, and we get back on the winning spirit, as I should say. But I don't know, man. Let's just say this: we can't lose the next game to Houston. Let's just say that.
Oh,
We lose that
We
game,
might
then
have to
yeah,
have an emergency
yeah,
podcast.
we have an emergency. Like we might be on here Tuesday night if we lose to the Rockets. All the questions that you asking me tonight, they're gonna be different answers if we lose on Monday. So yeah, we just can't lose Monday. Let's just say that.
Let me just pull this up for context as we discuss it. I'm gonna get to Ajay. The Knicks are in 5th place right now, a game and a half out of 6, and 2 games out of 7. Right. So yeah, just to provide some context, and we are, what's that, 5 game? Yeah, 5 games out of the 4th spot. So I think we can kind of forget that.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can kind of forget that. But that's just for some context. I'll leave that up for a little while. Yeah, Ajay, your thoughts. Are you as confident this week as you were last week?
Was I confident? Was I confident last week?
I don't remember.
If you remember, and I told you guys mathematically, it's still possible for us to fall into the play-in. You know, it's not over till it's over. You know, it's not over until the final buzzer of the last game. It's the way they have the play-in set up is rare, and they did the play-in just so that all those end of season games could count and they could all be meaningful. And you know, this is what we're seeing right now is exactly why they created that play-in thing, because you know, still, you know, right now teams are not, they're not fighting to get, you know, to the 8s between 1st and 8. Now you got to be between 1 and 6,
right?
Because everybody's trying to avoid that play-in, right? And you know, mathematically, it's still possible for the Knicks to fall out. Like we're you know, only a couple of games out of the play-in. And technically, the Atlanta Hawks is not out of the playoffs. Like they're not 100% in the play-in right now. You don't know what's going to happen at this point. So that's the way I felt last week, 2 weeks ago. That's the way I feel until the end of it. You know, it's not over till it's over.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get comfortable. You know, I want to get. I mean, I think last week I was pretty confident we would finish in the top 6. You know, I thought we struggled on the West Coast trip. I thought a lot of that was because, you know, we were missing Brunson, who's a big part, you know, of our team, and we'll talk about him later. We might be missing him still. I mean, there's no guarantee that he'll be ready to go Monday, right? So we may have to play a few more games without him. So yeah, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm getting a little nervous because we're not playing our best basketball. And going into the playoffs, I'm sorry, Jerome.
I was about to just say we just better not lose. I don't care if he play or not Monday. I don't care if you got Clyde back up. We can't lose Monday night to the Rockets at home. No way. No.
Yeah. Who have only won 18 games on the season. But you want to be playing your best basketball going into the playoffs, and the Knicks aren't.
Right.
And to be honest, I can't really put my finger on it. Like, are we, you know, obviously, you know, when Brunson didn't play in Orlando, that gave me at least an indication that he probably wasn't 100% in the Miami game, or maybe he was and he had a setback. I don't know. But is that the reason? You know, even with Brunson, I just felt like the sense of urgency wasn't there. Our defense hasn't been sharp for a minute now, right? Over the last 10 games, we're ranked 20th. I just can't put my finger on it, but the Knicks just don't look good and their energy don't look right. You know, you could say maybe they're tired. I mean, I can't put my finger on it, but we're going in the wrong direction, in my opinion, in terms of how a team should look heading into the playoffs. And another thing that concerns me about this team is that we're streaky. We get on a good roll, we continue to roll in that direction.
Right.
We get on a bad roll, we continue to roll in that direction. And right now we're on a bad roll, 0-3. Will it stop with Houston? You know, I think after Houston, we got Miami.
Right.
Wednesday. And I'm not sure who we play Friday. Hopefully it's not Cleveland. Yeah, so I just feel like I don't want to be the ones. It's Cleveland?
Right. Cleveland Friday. Yep.
Play Miami on and popping.
Play Miami and Cleveland.
Yeah. So I don't want to be the one
Pressure cooker.
sounding the alarm. I hope the bottom doesn't fall out from out from under the Knicks, and we find ourselves in the play-in. Like, I don't feel as confident as I felt last week, to be honest. I just don't.
If we reach the play-in, yeah, I'm definitely not confident in us. Like the play-in, I don't want to be down there at all, trying to fight them. No way.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let's not forget after Cleveland, we got the Wizards, we got Indiana twice, and we got New Orleans, right?
Mhm.
So the Wizards, they think they can still make the play in. So do the Pacers, and so do New Orleans Pelicans. So we're playing teams that are fighting to get in the play in.
I think we're pretty much in the playoffs right now.
Wow. Well, okay. All right. Somebody's super confident here.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much in the playoffs. Like all of these games count.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant that.
Oh no, I don't mean that.
I thought he was saying book it. We're in.
Right.
Hey, Steph. Josh said he wanted the link.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'll put it out in a minute.
I got him. While you on?
No. I wanna wait a little while.
Okay.
But yeah, don't worry. We'll get people in.
Gotcha.
But what I wanted to say, to Ajay's point is, Indiana, Washington, they're going to be playing for something, right? They're 18, just a game, and Indiana is just a game and a half out from Chicago. Just a game and a half out for Chicago. And the thing about it is, when you're not playing well, those games that look easy are not easy.
Nope.
Because you're not playing well.
Right. None of these games look easy.
Right now, nothing's guaranteed. Listen, every game we play from here on out means something, because those teams are coming. They're coming to beat us.
Right.
They're not coming to tank. They're not coming to just rest their players because there's nothing to gain. They're coming to win. They want to make it into the play-in. Every one of them.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it. Let me check in with the chat. Houston is a must win. Yeah. I listen, I kind of felt that way about Orlando. And I get it. This was the second half of a back-to-back. You were playing without Brunson. This was an up-and-coming team who had beat quality opponents. I still feel like you just got to find a way to win.
Right.
You got to grind it out. You got to find a way to win this game. Maybe it wasn't pretty. Maybe it was one of them mucked up games. You know what I mean? But you got to find a way to win. And I just don't see that with the Knicks. JJ, who do we root for tomorrow between Miami and Brooklyn? For me, that's a good question. I
don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah,
they're right next to each other. So
yeah, and the Knicks control their own. The Knicks control their own destiny. Yeah, no doubt.
That's very important. It's all up to the Knicks.
Right.
It's all up to us.
Marlon Kant, we taking bad shots and team pushing the pace on us, outscoring us, and we can't catch up on D. Something is, I can't put my hands on it. Paris Douglas says Randle isn't right, and you don't need to look any further than that. Listen, last night, and we'll talk more about Randle. Randle didn't have a good first half, but in the second half, he did well. I don't have the stats in front of me. We went over it this morning, but he had a really good second half. Maybe it's Brunson not being 100%.
True.
Marlon Connigan. Hello, Stephanie. I think Randle is a scapegoat and have to take blame for everything. Did anyone ever see Barkley, Rodman, and Rasheed play? Yeah. We'll talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about Brunson before I get into Randle. And shout out to everybody. Hit that like button.
Yeah, for real.
Get him, Mad J. Get him.
My own.
Right.
Yo, Jarrell, I got him earlier. I got him when there were 4 people waiting.
Oh, word.
But there were 3 likes. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Hold up.
Gotta get 4 up.
Right. But I don't know 1804 Toussaint. To me, it's about finishing in the top 6. To me, it's more about not falling to 7. I don't care if we fall to 6. I just don't want to fall to 7. But 1804 Toussaint says Miami's on our heels right now. A win by Brooklyn would give us some breathing room. I think you're right. If you're trying to stay in the 5th spot, it will give us some breathing room. For me, I'm just trying not to go to 7.
Right.
And not that I don't think the Knicks can win a play-in. I mean, it's in the 7th and 8th seed favor, and how the play-in is set up. I just feel like there's no guarantees once you get into the play-in. There's no guarantees. And then that's an extra, you got to play in those games, and then you still have that first round series in addition to the play-in.
That's another thing. When you fall into play-in, you play a better team in the playoffs.
Right.
A tougher team in the playoffs.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah. JJ says, so you fine playing Philly or Boston over Cleveland? I mean, it is what it is. I just don't want to get in the play-in, but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. That some people are looking at first round matchups.
Right.
Right. I get that. They would prefer to play Cleveland, so it's about the 5 seed. For me, it's just about not getting into the play-in, but I definitely get it.
I don't mind playing Philly.
Philly is on it.
I know.
They're rolling right now, AJ.
They're 9-1 over their last 10.
Joel Embiid is, oh my God, he is so good. He is a monster out there.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt. Listen, let's talk about Brunson now, who was out for the Orlando game. How concerned are you with him possibly missing more games? And how concerned are you with him possibly missing more games and what that means for the playoffs?
I'm not sure.
Playoff positioning.
But do we have a timeline or what did they say exactly?
You know what? I heard a hand. I said
right. He missed it because of his hand, not because of his ankle this time or his foot.
Okay.
So I have no idea what the timeline of the injury that he has. Like I don't know. It didn't come across my timeline. But yeah, I'm concerned. I mean, us, playing without Jalen Brunson is obviously going to be a disadvantage because he's a good player. So yeah, this is the home stretch, man. Like I am concerned. I'm not gonna lie. But against the Rockets at home, I don't think we should need him. But yeah, the Heat and then Cleveland and then the Wizards and then the rest of the schedule is going to be pretty tough without Brunson. So yeah, I'm definitely concerned.
I too am concerned. I mean, he is, if not the leader of the team, at least one of the leaders of the team. And when your leader's out or not 100%, yeah, you have to be concerned. I know we've won some games and some big ones without Brunson, but do you really want to be down the stretch? Do you want to be headed to the playoffs without your best player? Because yeah, remember, let's say he gets injured and he comes back right before the playoffs. It'll take him a couple of games to get in rhythm. I mean, it's only human. He's not going to jump right in and be ready to go. Like, you need him to play a few games before the playoffs. He's got to get ready. So yes, I am very concerned about Jalen Brunson. So the wrist being the injury, I don't know if you guys see that as good news. I see it as bad news because the ankle injury is not. They don't get healed that fast. Like, he's playing on it, but it'll probably take him the whole summer to get that thing right. But he has to play. I mean, it's the playoffs. What are you gonna do? Sit him? So now that's 2 injuries we're talking about. Ankle and wrist. Okay, right. So yes, it's very concerning.
So it is his wrist, AJ? Like, I didn't even know what he hurt.
I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. I heard wrist.
Yeah, that is in some sort of a cast might be a bit strong, but it's in some sort of brace,
brace.
or you know, or something like that. You know, if the medical staff says he's good to go, do you play him or do you give him more rest? I know there's been some in the fan base who feel like we should be giving Randle some games off, give Brunson days off so that they're fresh for the playoffs.
That's a very hard question because now, like I said before, it's almost like we're in the playoffs now because all of these games count so much. So it's not like you can sit him for one game and then play him the next because of rest. Like he either has to play or not. So that's a very, very, very hard question. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Because now you're also, first of all, you're talking about potentially losing games.
Right.
But then, because I'm talking about he's ready, but you just want to give him extra. You know, the medical staff says he's ready, but you want to give him extra rest. I think, yeah, it's a tough call, JJ. You know, we could fall into the play-in, or even not. He can go into the playoffs having not played in a few games, not being in rhythm. You know, those sorts of things, and the next thing you know, you're down 0-2. You know. Can we get as far in the playoffs with quickly running point? Let's just say Brunson can't go. We got to go with Quick, and we're getting the bench support. So it's not like, you know, Quickly's in that first unit and it's weakening our bench. Let's just say our bench is playing well, you know, and Brunson can't go, and we have Quickly in there. How confident are you with Quick that, you know, we can go as far in the playoffs? And I get it. He's not, you know, he's not Brunson, but just your thoughts on that.
Go ahead, AJ. You can go.
Like I said a little while ago, he's one of the leads of the team. How far can we go in the playoffs? I don't know. It's a toss up because you don't know what you're gonna get. Right. With him, not because he's his production, like, you know, basically when you go in playoffs, if this guy is not playing, you got to figure out a way to make up his production, right? So, you know, you got to find a way to make up his points, assist, and I guess the IQ reading the game, the energy that he brings onto the game, which is the hard part. I don't know if we have the personnel to make that up. You know, Deuce McBride, we get one good game out of every, 20 games from him. Or I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't really know.
Right.
But I'm just saying, you know, you would need a steady hand. Like, he is the point guard. He's like the quarterback of this team. Right. I don't care if Randle can bring up the ball. You do need a point guard to read the game, to control the tempo, to control the speed of the game, you know, and especially in the playoffs. Because in the playoffs, you're playing the same team over and over and over. They will adjust. They'll make the adjustment. So if you don't have a guy who can, you know, outplay that adjustment, who can read what the adjustment is and then do something else, it's going to be a very short series, man. It's going to be real quick.
But is that on the? I mean, I get you that Quickly might not be able to do that. Brunson may be able to do that on his own because he's not. Well, he's been in the league longer, but let's just say Quickly is not able to do that. The coach should be able to do that as well, right? Let him know what the adjustment is going to be to the adjustments they made the other game.
Yeah, that's Tibbs' job.
Yeah, but so Quickly is a guard. He's a guard, right? He could play the point, he could play the two, but Jalen Brunson is a better point guard than Emmanuel Quickly is. He could control the tempo of the game much better than Emmanuel Quickly can. So it's not that Quickly's not good, and he may not be able to, or not yet, this early in his career. And Jalen Brunson may be able to do that, or is able to do that. I mean, we've seen him do it in the playoffs, so we know he can. So, you know.
Well, I, for one, think that if we do not have Jalen Brunson, it is over. Like, we're not getting out of the first round if we don't have Jalen Brunson. I don't have any faith in Emmanuel Quickly doing what Jalen Brunson can do. It will have to take Emmanuel Quickly to be consistent, Grimes to be consistent, RJ to be consistent, just to make up for Jalen Brunson efficiency if we're going to talk about, like, playoff basketball to me. like I don't have any faith in Emmanuel Quickly until I actually see it in the playoffs. Like I know he played, he plays sort of well for what he had to do in Atlanta. Like you really didn't expect much, but yeah, that playoff experience is not going to be anything like the minutes that he would be logging in if he had to take Brunson's place. Like it's not the same. So, I would want him to obviously, do well, but do I have faith in what I bet the house on it? No, not for him to just take Brunson's place like that and we not do well. I don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably right. JJ, the only one I trust in the playoffs is Brunson. Okay.
Yeah.
If IQ takes over, that means we really need good, constant production from the bench. Can Deuce maintain a high scoring, facilitating performance? I'm not confident in. I mean, you would have McBride coming off the bench. And both of those guys are heavy dribble guys in my opinion. I'm like,
heavy dribble guys.
I mean, he's just dredge.
Yeah,
I'm like just
you know what it is, because it seems like neither one of them know what to do at first. Like they're not decisive, so it just seems like they do dribble the air out of the ball all the time.
Yeah,
it takes them a long time to read the game because it's early. Yeah, they're 2-3 years in.
Right.
All right. Let me get to this last. McBride, last 11 games, he's shooting over 50% and 50% on threes. At the same time, Quickly has sucked. I mean, I get it. McBride has had some good games, but
that doesn't mean
I'm more confident in Quickly than I am in McBride.
Yeah, especially in the playoffs.
Right.
Yes, but and I get you. McBride is coming along. He need to get up off that dribble though. And there's sometimes I got to be honest. McBride is confident in his game, and I like that about him. But I got to be honest. Sometimes I feel like he out there doing too much. I'm like, look, you are the 15th option. I need you to come in. I need you to bring the ball up. I need you to swing it. If it come back your way and you got a shot, I need you to shoot it. But it's just too much dribbling, trying to find, trying to create something. I don't know. I'm not liking his approach to the game when he's in there. But I see him. He's confident. He feel like he's out there playing free.
I think maybe Deuce. Like I agree with you, but that's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of like why I like him though. Like I
get it.
Like I kind of want that's one of the reasons I kind of like Quickly too, even though a lot of those shots are trash. A lot of those shots are garbage that he be taking, especially in the fourth quarter. Like the last game, Quickly was pissing me off, but that has to be part of the reason you like him. If you like his game, you got to like those shots if they go in,
right? Because
they do go in sometimes, but when they don't, it looks ugly. Like it looks terrible. It looks like bad basketball.
Yeah. Okay. Salute to Freezy.
Freezy, what's good, bro?
What's up, fellas?
And coming in here trolling about playing the kids down the stretch, but we'll get into that. King Rip, he's the 9th or 10th option. Yeah, but he be out there pounding the ball like he the first or second option when he get in there.
That's my heartstring, though, Queen B.
Is that right?
That's my heartstring. Go do your thing, little. Hey, when I see him, it's like being at kindergarten graduation. You know, did the kindergartners be out there dressed up like adults?
Right. Just
I
proud
love McBride. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Just proud.
All right. What good is it if Randle played okay in the third quarter after he shook up his team? Tibbs ruined Julius Randle by not resting and holding him accountable. Ataya JR is awful. Awful JR is unbridled. And unbridled JR destroyed. Yeah, I think that's a bit much, but
Paris with the bars.
Yeah, but I hear you, what you're saying, and where you coming from. We'll talk a little bit about Randle. I don't want to spend the entire show on Randle, but we will talk a little bit about him. So welcome in, Josh, Freezy. How you guys doing?
Salute, fellas.
Good.
What's going on?
I'm good.
Play the kids.
Play the kids. We back to that.
Nah, we're not talking about
Play the kids.
We're not talking about that today.
Play the kids down the stretch.
But we are into the Randle portion of the show, and I got to be honest, it's not my favorite segment. But I'm a content creator, so if it's out there, you gotta talk about it. But it's not my favorite thing to talk about. I said this morning on the morning show. I think there's a segment of the fan base, in my opinion, that's overreacting to the quickly part. The quickly part. Oh, that's his teammate. You got to respect your teammate. You can't be pushing your team. Listen, when you're upset, you're not thinking clearly. When you're upset, you don't want to be touched and held. So he was already, I'm not going to say out of control, but he had lost his cool. He got attacked. So what people are expecting when he sees quickly to be like, oh, okay, all right, he's not one of them guys that's gonna do that. So to me, the whole he's pushing quickly part of it, to me that's overplayed for me personally. But I get it. The part to me that's being minimized is everybody gets texts, which is true. They do. Everybody does, get texts. For me, the issue is, are you going to be able to hone your emotions in the playoffs? Are you going to be able to go to the edge and not go over? Are you going to be able to deal with the frustration of not getting calls, which is legit because he does not get calls and he gets hacked? Are you going to be able to deal with that in a game where maybe Brunson is fouled out or he's not playing and maybe we're losing, whatever? Can you go to that line and bring it back, especially when the official is saying basically enough 2 or 3 times? That's my only concern. Can you bring it back in a situation like that? What I like is that it doesn't seem to be impacting him after the fact. He went out and had a really good second half. In the Clipper game, in the fourth quarter, I think he played, it didn't seem to be impacting him. Like he's able to bounce back from it. So I like that part. But it can happen at a time when you're not able to bounce back. The last 30 seconds of a game, So that's my only concern. I don't want to overplay it, but I will give the panel an opportunity and the chat as well to talk. This is not about what he did well. It's about what he destroys. Okay. Anyway, let me open it up.
You caught me off guard with that. Like, where'd you read that from?
Yeah, something caught me out.
I got
so we could start wherever. But I guess the question is, are you concerned going into the playoffs about whether or not this can harm us down the stretch, or do you feel this is just a now 2-time thing?
Can I go? I'm going to go first.
Absolutely.
All right. So first of all, Queen, shout out to all the Knicks fans. I don't want to call them clueless Knicks fans who are calling for Julius Randle to be traded. Ain't no trade happening right now. So, we're stuck. We have him for the playoffs. Let's talk about that in the offseason. All right. We're trying to make the playoffs right now. Forget about your trades. All right. Well, it is a concern, but I am okay with what happened. And what happened maybe 2-3 times this past couple of weeks. And the reason is it happened now instead of in the play. It could have been worse. It could have happened in the playoffs where there's no time to make up for it. Right now you have time to make up for it. And we have time, bless you. We have time for somebody, hopefully in the league office or in the media, to look at this and say, you know what? Maybe the refs are not doing a good job in not calling. Maybe they're doing the wrong thing for not calling. Listen, we watch those games. Julius Randle get kicks, elbowed, punched, body. He gets everything, and they don't call the fouls. Hopefully, by the time we get to the playoffs, somebody sit and point this out to the refs, as opposed to this happens in the playoffs, and they point it out to them in the offseason. I'm okay with this happening. I don't have a problem with it. Yes, it is a concern because Julius Randle is a vital part of the team, and you don't want him to be playing out of control. Okay, you want him to be under control and to be helping the team get wins. And I think Tom Thibodeau said as much. He's only human. He's gonna get frustrated when they're not calling those fouls. And not calling the fouls is one thing, but on the other hand, you touch somebody's jersey, they call a foul. All right, that's the problem. The problem is they're not calling on the other end of they calling everything, any tick attack foul they call, but Julius Randle is getting body, he's getting hurt out there, and they're not calling the fouls. I think that's what frustrates him. And like I said, hopefully somebody will notice. And I think before the playoffs, the league office do have some sort of meeting and conference call with the refs and go over certain things, and hopefully they talk about this before the playoffs. Okay, so yeah, it is a concern, but I don't have a problem with what happened yesterday.
Which part? You don't have a problem with him getting angry and getting
a technical? Yes, I don't have a problem with him getting angry, expressing his feelings to the refs, and getting a technical. So yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that, because that may work in our favor come playoff time.
I mean, okay. I mean, I see it as more than attack. I agree with you. If a guy gets attacked, they get frustrated, they get attacked. I mean, that's fine. And people get texts for a lot of reasons. They say the magic word. An official is just having a bad night, and they just text you up for. So I kind of get that. But to get attacked because an official is telling you, I need you to back. First of all, he was all up on the official, and the official was telling him, "Yo, back up 2-3 times," and you can't process that because you're so in your feelings. I think that's more than just he got frustrated and he got attacked. But I get you. Anybody else?
I'll go. I'll go. Good evening, everyone. Steph, Jarrell, Ajay, Blue Orange Tears, my OG Uncle Freezy, and salute to the Dope Soul family. I'm not concerned about Julius Randle and his emotionality in the playoffs and the technical fouls. I believe in the playoffs, referees are a little bit more lenient when it comes to calling technical fouls overall, right around the league. So I think the players are allowed to get away with a little bit more. What I will say about Randle and his emotional issues, I think, he has been much better this season overall. But lately, right, we're coming down the stretch of the season, 3 straight games with a technical foul, and then the incident with the Clippers, and then, the other day with Quickly, or yesterday with Quickly. I think it is a concern for me right now down the stretch of the season. And I think Julius Randle may be, and I'll defer to Steph on this. She's the mental health professional, so I'm going to defer to her. No. But no, I don't know. This is just my theory. I'm going to defer to you, and maybe you can enlighten me a little bit more about this. But I think he needs time off. And people want to talk about load management being a bad thing for the NBA. I think it is necessary in certain situations. For Julius Randle, not physically, but mentally. I just think he needs, certain games off during the season. I applaud the fact, and I think it's noble that he wants to be an Iron Man and play 82 games in the season. But I think, at this point in the season, he is, I think, a little bit mentally tired, right? Especially with Brunson being out, he has to carry the load. I just, feel that maybe that would help him. Obviously, there's nothing we can do about it right now. But moving forward, that may be something the Knicks can implement in the future. And I'll defer to Queen on that.
No, I mean that's possible. I just think, yeah, I get you that it's happening more frequent. So maybe, overall he's just mentally spent. Yeah, I mean that's possible. That's possible.
You don't think Julius Randle would I don't know, you don't think he'll go against that though? Like, how frustrated would a Julius Randle be if you sat him and he don't want to be sat?
Like right now, right now it's too late. There's nothing you can do. The Knicks already, made the pot with him playing every game this season. But in the future, I'm talking about like periodic games during the regular season, like scheduled games off. Like I would say 5 to 7 per season. Right. That's scheduled for him to be off.
I get that, but I'm saying if you put the plan out in front of him, right? If he's not okay with that, what do you do? That's what I'm asking.
I think players deal with it around the NBA. There's been a lot of talk because the players are like, well, it's not our fault that teams are mandating us to sit out certain games to protect their bottom line and stuff like that. I think that's happening around the league, and there's really nothing the players can do. If a team is mandating you to sit down, they sit. You know, they're still getting paid at the end of the day. It's not like they're not getting paid. You know,
True.
so I don't know if it'll matter.
Right. Right. Freezy, do you have anything you want to add before I get to the chat?
Yep. I that's the same thing. I agree with Uncle Fulio's the same thing I said earlier. Right. So first of all, we're talking. I disagree with everything or most of the stuff I heard. I think this dude is off the rails and is a risk to be off the rails at any given moment. This dude, it's not like this is a one-off occurrence. This is not a one-off occurrence. This is a thing that has been treated within the organization over the years. You even saw them implement an action plan this year to prevent stuff like this from happening. They have a person courtside in place for this. They know this may occur. And to Uncle Fulio's point, and I'm going to disagree with something slightly. I agree with him about I'm about 97% of the way there with him. What I would do for this yesterday, the thing that happened with quickly is awful. What I would do to what myself and Uncle Fulio were saying, the only thing I would do differently is I would suspend his rump right now. That is your mental health break. That is your mental health break. I'm going to suspend you and send a message to one of the youngest teams in the NBA. Because the thing about it is things don't get better when untreated. The hope factor doesn't work for certain stuff. You have to have a plan and you have to be stern in it and enforce it in order for things to work. If Randle does this and the Knicks take the same approach they took last time, take a feather and hit him on the wrist with it as his punishment for something like this, then there is no deterrent. Because there's a such thing as a slap on the wrist, and there's a such thing as taking a feather and hitting somebody on the wrist, and that's what they're doing with Julius Randle. And then to say, and for Knicks fans to say, man, we got to start holding players accountable and these things. And then when you watch our guy do this or on a stage in front of this very, very, very young team, what's going to happen when one of them go off the rails? Are you going to go to them and then try to hold them accountable when they watched with their own two eyes that this guy did this thing and you didn't hold him accountable? Julius Randle does need a mental health break, right? He does. And here's your mental health break. I'm going to suspend you right now. You're going to miss these games. You mad or not, I don't care. So because if Memphis can go through something like this with Ja Morant and Ja Morant can get suspended, how are you going to tell me that Julius Randle can be treated otherwise? To me, it's ridiculous.
Can I follow up with a question? I disagree with you 100% on that take. By the way, I want to. How you disagree with me? And I agree with. I said I agree with. well, no, you said so you disagreeing with what you said earlier. No, I disagree with the part about suspension.
Okay,
right? That's the part that I disagree with about.
Okay.
One, how do you enforce a suspension? Right. What are you suspending Julius Randle for? What is
he's getting suspended for conduct detrimental to the organization. Okay. And everybody that has ever been an employee has heard that term. If you've ever worked anywhere, you know that there are conduct clauses in your contract. We all know that when you get hired somewhere, you are either a part of the organization or you're an independent contractor. And even in all those things, there is a statement that says, hey, if you start acting crazy or doing something that goes against what we do, then we got the right to either sit you or get rid of you.
And for lack of a better word, and just so many words, right? Again, I disagree because I can guarantee you, even though what happened with Emmanuel Quickley last night, Emmanuel Quickley doesn't want him suspended. Emmanuel Quickley doesn't feel like his conduct was detrimental to the team, right? I don't think. I just need you said you said guarantee, right? And prove it. You heard what he said at the end of the game. He said everyone's trying to win, and for those who have played on teams that have been in those type of locker rooms,
but that's not proving a guarantee, though.
Let me finish.
You say guarantee.
Well, let me finish real quick. So at the end of the game, Emmanuel quickly said everyone's trying to win. And as someone who played in locker rooms and I've been in those situations where I had 4 or 5 hotheads on my football team, and as a senior in high school, and I had to deal with them and mediate and be in front of all of that. Stuff like that happens all the time. That happens across the league, actually. We just don't get a chance to see it. So in that case, all 32 teams could suspend one player, whether it be their best player or whether it be a player that's on the bench for conduct detrimental to the team. That's such a gray area, and it does not send the right message. And what happens is if Tibbs or whoever in that front office tries to enforce that, you just lost your best player. Because if he makes that into a big deal, there's no way you can repair that relationship. So all this stuff that we've built over the past 3 years with Julius Randle and him getting to the level he's at right now, with a move like that, trying to be brazen and trying to overplay your hand with like that, you can lose him. And in that case, when you lose him, you risk losing the rest of the team. So
some of us have standards.
With that,
some of us have standards, though. Some of us have what you call standards and integrity. Now, I understand that some people will lay their integrity and standards down because they feel like somebody is too valuable. But a standard is supposed to be consistent, right? If this thing that we're talking about, because I hear the same people when Mitch go on social media and say like little small stuff, I hear the community go, "Oh, Mitch, he immature, he need to grow up." All he did was tweet or put a statement on social media. He need
to be suspended, though.
Yeah, right, exactly. There's a difference, big difference.
Right, I understand that. What I'm saying though is if this were an isolated occurrence, I would be 100% with y'all. But this is not an isolated occurrence. This is a trend. This is something that happens repetitively. And I hear the same people.
Go ahead.
All I'm saying is, okay, so all I'm asking for is a level of consistency from the Knicks and from you guys, the content creators, right? Because 2 years ago when Julius Randle got kicked out of the game in Phoenix, and I was like, yo, the man was pushing Randle in the back and blah, blah, blah. And I ain't calling no names, but some people on this panel was like, yo, Julius Randle can't get kicked out the Phoenix game, man. We need to, blah, 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 blah. That was 2 years ago. And even before then and all the way to today, we've been dealing with the same stuff off and on.
But go ahead, Queen. Go ahead.
Yeah. As for consistency, y'all know where I'm at that. Takes change over time. So where I was 2 years ago and where I was 6 weeks ago and where I'm at today could be something totally different. But this is what I will say. When you're talking about punishing people like this behavior modification, is this a behavior, a willful behavior, or is this somebody, I don't like the word losing control, but somebody who's having difficulty regulating their emotions? Suspending them is not going to help them regulate. Like this is like somebody has a bad behavior, they're stealing. So you punish them. So when they think about stealing, this is not somebody who's thinking about going off. So I don't see where a suspension changes that behavior. You know, I think, like you said, they put in a behavior. I don't know if they put it in, if Julius Randle put it in, maybe it was all of them together. Who knows? Right. But for the most part, he's been humming along, whatever he put in place or they put in place. You know, it's going to always be, when you're talking about emotional dysregulation, sometimes you're just not going to be able to contain it. So he went this entire season and it's happened twice. I'm not talking about how many texts he's gotten. Twice where I felt like he couldn't
Text happened. I ain't talking about that.
Where I felt like he couldn't bring himself back from the edge. Like he was ramping up for legitimate reasons, but he got to the edge and he couldn't pull himself back. You know what I mean? So I think they need to put another plan in place, you know, as he's ramping up, you know, him or them need to help him, you know, bring it back. I'm just saying, Freezy, I hear what you're saying. I just don't know for this particular behavior, how a suspension helps the behavior.
Yeah, well, for one, it takes him away from his trigger. It takes him away from his trigger, for one, and it gives him time to work on the thing that gets him ramped up.
I think
Uncle Fulio just said a little while ago that during the season they need to give him breaks and all that stuff. This is your break right here.
I want to do it in a non-punitive way, though. The suspending is a
not suspension.
It's a punitive word. It's punishment, right? I don't think this is a punishable situation. I think I would like to, have load management to help him, right? And then you mentioned stuff like conduct detrimental and all of that stuff. By suspending him, you're being detrimental to the team anyway because you're taking away the best player. So that does not serve that purpose. Also,
in whose
what
opinion?
message does that?
In whose opinion, though?
And
that's your opinion that he's the best player right now because scoring points don't make you the best player. Grabbing rebounds don't make you the best player. You got to be the best all around. Like you legit have to be. If you're in that spot, if you're in that place, you're held to a different standard, right? That's what you're saying, right? He's held to a different standard, right?
No, I didn't say that at all. I just said he's the best player or one of the best players. I'll say that. But either way, whether he's one of the best players or the best player, you're hampering your team by punitively suspending him. Not to mention this, when you talking stuff like the punitive stuff like that can also have a negative effect. People want to treat professional sports as if it's amateurs. With younger, kids in high school where, they have to do well in school and stuff like that, you can punish them, right? Because it's easier to punish them. But we're talking about professional athletes who are getting paid. There's so much politics that go into it, not just with the Knicks, but also the players union and stuff like that. That can have a negative effect on your organization. So to me, I want to have him take games off, but I want the team to actually plan those in and have a plan set in place and have them implement that plan rather than just him suspending him just with the snap of a finger. I don't think that's productive at all. I think it's counterproductive.
Let me bring Smoking Nick in, but Josh, I have a question for you and for the panel. Salute, Smoking Nick. I agree with you in the playoffs when you said that the officials have, they hold their whistle a little longer. But when somebody is losing their cool, they may hold it a little longer, then he may go a little longer. To me, I've seen a lot of progress in Julius Randle in terms of him regulating his emotion. A lot of progress. Something like that would happen. We didn't even know where he was for the rest of the game. You know what I mean? He came back in the Orlando game, in the Clipper game, and he played relatively well. And he was able to bring it down. So whatever they're putting in place after he loses his cool, he's able to bring himself right back and still be productive. I just think for something like this, you got to take a different approach. And I also agree with Josh in that this is not high school and college. This is and I think not just with this situation, there's a lot of situations where we come with the sensibility of a high school or college team. This is the NBA. Oh, you're not holding everybody. First of all, they don't even do that in high school and college. But you're not holding everybody to the same standard. How come this player can miss a few shots and still be in the game, but this other player can? This is the number one thing is to win. We're not trying to develop men. We're trying to win basketball games. So that changes things a little bit. Let me get to the chat and then Smoking Nick, you can give your opinion on it. I may not be able to get to everybody, but I will do my best. All right. Paris Duggan, can anybody guarantee Randle won't punch a ref? Listen, I would put a lot of money on Randle not punching in an official, but okay.
He may in the playoffs though when they get more physical in the playoffs. So we'll see.
What did Paris Duggan say? What did he say?
Josh, winning isn't more important than behavior. On the NBA level, it is. That's what I'm trying to say. How we come to the NBA with the same sensibilities as college and high school, and sometimes even in college and high school is more about winning and like that development of men aspect.
Dennis Rodman has 5 championships.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman has 5 championships.
Right. Flow Hypnotic, Morant flashed a gun. Is that equivalent to what Randle did? No. I don't think.
Nah, who said that?
Freezy.
Yeah, no.
Did he?
Okay. No, I didn't say Randle. I didn't say Randle flashed a gun.
No,
he bought a John Morant.
I'm sorry, Quinn. No, you said specifically that if they treating John Morant the way they treating him, why shouldn't Julius Randle be treated in the same aspect? That's exactly what you said.
Okay, all right. Let's finish. Let's finish this. We'll get into it. Exactly, Uncle Freezy. This dude Randle gonna strike someone. Wow. You play in New York, you won't get calls. You will be hazed.
Yeah.
Okay. Be baller for real. I guess that's for real. I don't disagree with Josh nor Sherwin. Give him time off. Julius, take your frustration out on the opposition. We got to stop empathizing with him. He's hurting his team in those moments. I don't think he's hurt us yet, but I could see a world in where it does hurt us if it happens at an inopportune time. I just think we've been fortunate with where it has happened in the Clipper game and in this last game. And you can argue in the Clipper game, it did squash our momentum a little bit, but you had the whole fourth quarter to get the momentum back, in my opinion.
This happened so much, I forgot about the Clipper game. I was thinking about the Miami game.
That was rough.
What happened in the Miami game?
Down the stretch of the Miami game, him and Jimmy Butler, Julius Randle lost to Jimmy Butler.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. This was a ramp up to Orlando. This wasn't like an instantaneous thing.
I'm cool with the Miami thing. That's the opposition. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, the Miami game, that was nothing. That was Jimmy Butler was chirping. So it said,
we need more players like that. I'm cool with that.
So we're gonna overshadow other people not showing up, and we just gonna equate it to one situation that happened in the first half, and then we're gonna talk about that for 7 days. Is that what we doing?
That's what we do.
We're not talking about the
game. We just so happen to be talking about Randle right now.
Hold on, I just want to orient you to what we're talking about. We're not talking about why we lost the Orlando game. We're not talking about the Orlando game at all.
Okay.
The question is specifically Randle, and if we had any concerns about him being able or not being able to hone his emotions as we go down the stretch and into the playoffs. That's the question, not focusing on Randle above the other guys in that Orlando loss.
I don't want to be rude because you shouldn't answer a question with a question, right? And it's not proper etiquette. But my question to that question is, would you prefer a person with no passion?
That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about passion.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm asking.
Okay. Well, I'm the host.
I'm not even being divisive.
I'm asking the original question.
I'm asking.
I know, but do you want to chime in on that question? Do you have any concerns about Julius Randle being able to hone his emotions down the stretch going into the playoffs?
Going into the playoffs, because I get the phenom, and that's the fever. So that's what everybody's concerned about, because our last experience wasn't the best. So I understand why people are concerned. But ultimately, no. Like, you want a dude that's going to be out there teetering on the line. Should you step over the line sometimes? Yes. But if you're not getting anything from anybody else, we can't just keep trying to pinpoint it in where's Carmen Sandiego just because he had a blow up in the first half. It's his fault. No, it's like, yo, son, there was a whole halftime after that, right? Then there was a whole third quarter and a fourth quarter after that. So just to try to pinpoint it on one moment that happened, come on, man. Like, and I'm not even making excuses. I'm just saying that where do other people held accountable for not showing up after moments like that happen? Is what I'm asking.
Smoking Nick, we're not talking about the game at all. Like that. What we're saying is this is what we're saying. We like passion. We like players with passion. We're discussing whether we're concerned that passion is going to turn into aggression at some point.
No. Did he punch somebody?
We're concerned that it's gonna.
Do he have a history? The 9 years he's been in the league of punching. We're talking about things that's literally irrelevant.
But the question Queen asked: are we concerned that the passion is gonna get too far?
And I'm answering you, no.
Okay, that's your answer.
Okay,
that's cool.
I disagree. I do think though, part of it is. Well, I should just say in the Clipper game and the Orlando game, I noticed that in both of those games, Brunson was out. And both of those games, he had to carry a heavier load. And both of those games, he wasn't getting calls and we were losing. Randle is a sore loser. Did you watch his the little piece he did with Ahmad Rashad? he does not like to lose. He talks about how many a nights they went to sleep angry over board games.
Right.
You know, particularly during the
He's a sore winner too.
Sometimes he's a sore winner. So he's
To
a
be
sore
honest.
loser. So I can
He's
see,
a sore guy.
I can see we losing.
Yeah,
I
that's
got all
him.
of this on my shoulder. I'm not getting calls. I can see how that's leading to. So, I think when Brunson is here, that's less on him, to shoulder if we're winning. Because I've seen him get frustrated, but if we're winning, he seems to be able to handle it. Yeah.
I want to know how frustrating it is for the other players, though. Like we talk about Julius Randle all the time and his emotionality or whatever, right? We don't really never talk about his teammates and how what he does affect them.
Or what they don't do affects him. It goes both ways.
It goes both ways too. I agree. Yeah, I agree with both ways.
Come on, my man.
That's true.
You talk about how they play in the game?
No, I'm talking about the fact that y'all want to just pinpoint it on one particular person. Like when these dudes don't show up, it don't affect us as well. Come on,
I love this.
That's not what we're talking about.
That's that. No, when you pinpoint it and you try to make it seem like, because he had a flare up in the second half, that affected the whole game. No, how many moments happen after that?
I love the smoking Nick. Smoke, I love you, bro.
Yeah, you really passionate about this subject because
I'm passionate because y'all, not you, Queen, in particular. I didn't come over here to be divisive or
no.
Blame it on me. I take the blame.
But I just feel like you're not on. I just feel like you're a little off.
It's kind of your fault a little bit too because
it's Freezy's fault. Blame Freezy.
It's not only his fault though because I've been listening all day to this cap, right? When the person that been dragging us has a bad game, y'all want to pile on. Come on, man. What are we talking about?
Hey, Smoke. So let me do this. Let me clean your ear out a little bit. First of all,
please.
First of all, I have been the biggest Julius Randle supporter since day one.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not looking.
Now listen.
All right.
Listen. I have been the biggest Julius Randle supporter from day one. I have been the one standing in it when everybody was pounding on Randle. I was the one standing in front taking the arrows for him. I used to sit up in the corner box and defend Randle. Now, what I'm doing is I'm not piling on Randle's play as a player.
Mm-mm.
What I'm saying, these moments are detrimental, and he has to clean that up in order for him to improve as a long-term leader on this team. And listen, everybody, every hero has made mistakes on the way to leading their flock from out of a bad situation. Everybody. Even Moses had blood on his hands, bro. You know what I'm saying? From killing somebody. That's biblical. Even Moses, who led his people from the promised land, made mistakes along the way. And for us to ignore certain mistakes because he is trying to lead us from a certain place is not the right thing to do. Nobody is perfect. What I'm saying, I love Randle. I made a Julius Randle tribute video that all of y'all saw, and it was mad gushy and soft. I did that, and I tagged his wife in it. I was like, "We here for you, Randle. We love you." When after Randle did his thumbs down, when everybody was like, "Get him out of town on the Greyhound," because he did a thumbs down video, because he did thumbs down. What I'm saying, bro, is this dude has a flaw that may prevent him from being the best version of himself, and in order for you to be the best version of yourself, you have to correct that thing.
You can't ignore it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying get him out of here. I hate Randle. That's what you're hearing.
No,
what I'm saying is
what I'm hearing.
Right.
That's what your answer is. You need to clean your answer up.
No,
you need to clean your answer up because that's what you're relaying to us, even if you mean something different.
No, that's not what I'm relaying. What I'm relaying to
that's what I'm hearing.
No, I specify.
You can't tell me what I'm not hearing, bro.
No, I'm not telling you what you hear, right? How you interpret it is how you interpret it. But
right.
What I'm saying is what I said. There are two different things, you know? How what I say make you feel ain't my problem. What it is I said something specific. I said, pinpoint and make it seem like just because one action happened, it caused this whole effect to where it's what we would call a quote unquote domino effect that caused this whole other actions to happen. Why we not holding people like RJ accountable for not showing up, quickly accountable? We're gonna sit here and talk about Randle for 45 minutes for having a flare up because he be getting hacked and don't nobody. The rest is like, oh, you big. They treat him like he's Shaq when he clearly not even Shaq. It's not.
SK, can I respond to you real quick?
Smoking Nick, Josh, right quickly before you. Smoking Nick, I made that exact point. I think he missed it. I made that exact. I think we all made that point.
That's what we saying, Smoke.
Yeah,
the same thing that you just said.
That's exactly what we're saying.
Right? Yeah. But Josh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, if that's going to end that whole thing, I mean, then I guess I just won't say anything. But in regards to the other players, in regards to the Randle thing, I think stuff like this makes teams stronger. I've been in locker rooms where there's been fights, where there's been hotheads, loose cannons on the team, and there was halftime we didn't play as well we were supposed to at halftime. Fight broke out. Second half we came out and dominated. I think these type of things that for those who have been on teams make teams stronger. Kobe and Shaq never got along that well. It's just coming out that Oak and Ewan didn't get along that well. People expect the Knicks or their favorite team and all the players to be friends off the court and best friends and sing Kumbaya under a nice rainbow. That's not how it is all the time. Like, there's going to be disagreements, but at the end of the day, Jordan and Pippen, at the end of the day, these type of moments, and I think that was a big moment for Quickly at that moment, stepping up to Randle like that. I think Randle's going to respect him more because of that, right? I think that's a big moment. So I don't want to overlook that part. I think, people are feeding into the negative a little bit too much with this. A valid question, no doubt. The question is definitely valid. But I do want to put that other side out there as well.
But Josh, real quick though, even though I agree with you, it can easily go the other way depending on the team.
Right. Yeah.
Stuff like that could crack a team in half too.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right though. It can go either way. It just depends on those people in the locker room. We don't know them well enough. At least I don't know them well enough how the locker room really is behind closed doors. But hopefully, as Knicks fans, you're absolutely right.
That's why I think the question is valid. I think it's a valid question. We can't.
Yeah, it's definitely valid.
So my Queen Bee question. The Queen Bee question was great. Queen Bee always on point.
No,
Queen Bee always on point. The question is not even an issue.
You start the soapbox argument, and then it spirals from there.
Right. But I do wonder, though, and there's no way for us to know. I'm not in that locker room. I do wonder if some of them look at him and be like, yo, we're not going to be able to count on this guy. I do wonder if they're like, we going into the battle, we going into the playoffs with this guy. I wonder if that's going through, some of their heads.
Because it's frustrating. Y'all ever been have a group of friends, but it's be that one person you get too many drinks in them and it's a wrap. Like it's night over for everybody.
And and some nights you plan not to drink because you know that might happen.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the point. That's the point Jarrell, you know what that is? That is an action plan.
Know what it is, Freezy? Because I'm usually the person that got to run security because of stuff like that. Being how big I am, I got to be the dude that don't drink.
That's what I knew.
So it's frustrating for me. Like I'm just. That's why I'm trying to talk about like the players. Like dealing with somebody like that is frustrating as hell.
Right.
But hold on.
But it just depends on the people.
Even though you occasionally may have to babysit, when that person peaks, right? Hold on. I'm being honest, and I'm not even catering, right?
I got you.
Even though you occasionally may have to babysit because this person drinks a little too much on maybe a weekend, a Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this person peak is 10 times more your peak. You gonna hate on what they doing? Because they get a little too they go a little too far sometimes.
No, I don't hate on what they're doing. I'll protect them because that's my man, regardless.
Exactly, and that's what
I get that part.
Doing, not piling on.
I get that part.
Who's piling on?
Asking the question isn't piling on, SK. Asking the question.
Yeah, we just.
I'm not saying.
I'm just saying, but we want to keep it here. I get it. You bringing all of the Twitter stuff and what you've been reading on Twitter and whatever, but we just trying to keep it with what's being said at the panel because we losing you. When you talking about, I'm like, well, who said that? You know, so I get it. You was on Twitter.
Hey, Queen, you mind if I just wanted to say something to the thing about what you said about really quick. I think sometimes like what Queen B said is an excellent point. Something excellent thought. Can you depend on this when you're headed into high leverage situations?
Right.
I don't want to, y'all know I don't like saying the word battle and war and all that stuff when it comes to sports. But high leverage situations, the playoffs and all that stuff, can you depend on Randle for that? Now, the question might not be said aloud, but in our quiet moments, and those guys too, I think they do maybe have this thing where they're like, well, what if the officiating ain't quite to our liking? You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, I don't want to say that Julius Randle's behavior might galvanize people because I've seen relationships break up for less. You know what I'm saying? I've seen, I saw a study the other day that says like 52% of marriages or something like that happened in the last 20 years end in divorce or separation. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. So I don't want to take the Mighty Ducks approach to Julius Randle's mercurial behavior and saying that this might turn Obi Toppin into a valuable piece because of Julius Randle have a meltdown. What I would like to say is when these games, see, right now the leverage on these games are ramping up. We're in a playoff hunt for a specific seed or to hold on to the one that we have. And these games are more stressful. And right now we're seeing Julius Randle crack under the pressure. And once the playoffs start, are we saying that we can trust a guy that's cracking under the pressure down the stretch of the season is going to hold it in the road when the playoffs start? I think there are some questions to be had.
Well, let's just ask it straight up. Do you trust Randle? Because that's basically the question.
Do I trust Randle?
I'm asking it to the panel. Okay. Going into the playoffs, do you trust him? Why and why not?
Quick answer. We're not going to take isolated incidents and make it seem like that's the person's character, right? Just because things do happen, right? But if a person majority of the time shows you who they are, you're going to hold him. I don't even know the word.
Responsible.
Not responsible ain't the word that I'm trying to use, because responsible, should he be held responsible? Yes, he should be held responsible
for himself.
For his outbursts and it's immaturity. I get it. So not everybody grows at the same pace or at the pace we may like them to grow at, right? But at the end of the day, if they show you what you need from them, you can't be so quick, fast to beat on them when they don't show you what you may think they should show you. And that's what a lot. Freezy feeling, Fuglio feeling me, and we don't even get on.
I'm looking at my watch. I ain't got my watch on.
Do you trust them? You said a quick answer. Do you trust them?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You trust them. All right. Anybody else? Do you trust them? Yeah. Let's keep. Josh, Uncle Fulio. We'll go the other way.
Okay.
Add J. Jarrell.
Oh. Okay. I'll go. So yes, I trust Julius Randle. I think he'll be okay in regards to this come playoff time.
Okay. And why?
Crazy, that's on you.
Why?
Okay.
Well, I
just think he's gonna. You're not a little concerned.
No. I think once again, I think come playoff time, the game naturally slows down a little bit more. I think referees are a little bit more hesitant to call technical fouls. I think Julius Randle will probably get a little bit more calls come playoff time. Yeah.
Okay. Freezy.
And and one more thing, I think the time off the weekend between when the next end of the season and that first playoff series, I think that's going to help him out.
Or we get to the play-in.
Right. I would
same thing. We'll still have some time off. We'll still have some time off. Okay. So I think either way it'll help.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say with contingencies, if Jalen Brunson is not 100%, I don't trust Randle. If he has help. If Randle has a support system in place, I trust Randle to be the best version of himself. If if the other guys don't show up, you can expect the same thing you saw the other night. It's like Queen Bee. Remember when I was saying Randle carrying the sofa by himself? And when Brunson, if Randle have to carry that sofa by himself, yes, you can expect a meltdown of epic proportions.
Yo, carry the sofa by yourself.
Y'all been in that, AJ, you know what I'm talking about. You know how you move the sofa. It's one thing moving it by yourself. It's one thing when you got 2 or 3 people in the room helping you, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about, man.
Ah, man. Crazy, yeah.
But I'm not worried about Julius Randle because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm glad this all happened before the playoffs and that'll, raise some awareness. Somebody was, like I said, before the playoffs, they have those refs meetings, and they will see that. I mean, it's very easy to look at the games and see Julius Randle he's getting beat up down there, and they're not calling the fouls. And hopefully, by this little meltdown, and a lot of people talking about it, so hopefully the league office is looking at this and say, refs, like, what's going on with this guy, and maybe there's a change in the playoffs. So if they do call the games right, I have no worries about Julius Randle.
RJ too. RJ getting beat up, man. All in the game. RJ got
Brunson.
The first 4 drives to the basket. RJ Barrett was accosted at the rim. They called nothing. They was legit RJ Barrett down at the rim, bro. Stop and frisk at the rim in the Orlando game, bro. It was ridiculous.
I'm about to say, do I trust Randle? You do sometimes you do have to love the people you don't trust, right? I don't know. I'm kind of like right in the middle. I kind of agree with Freezy. Like, yes, I trust him with like contingencies. Like if everything, well, I can't expect everything to go right. It's the playoffs,
right?
But if everybody is playing, I can't even say everybody's playing at a high level because that never happens with us either.
Well, when we was 9-0, we were playing at a pretty.
Yeah. Everybody was cooking there, but yeah, say we are playing at that type of level, and the whole team is actually, playing together. Then I trust Randle. I don't think he's going to do anything stupid because it is the playoffs. He knows what's at stake. He knows he missed it last year. I don't think Randle is that much of a hothead that he can't control himself. Like, he hasn't been kicked out of a game yet. So until he actually get kicked out of a game, or if he does punch somebody, I haven't seen any of that stuff yet. Like, I don't want to just assume that he's going to just go off the rails like he's some ravaged gorilla or something. Like somebody hit him. Like he's still a human being. Like, Randle isn't going to go crazy on somebody.
Right.
So I expect I trust him not to do that. But if I don't trust his like emotionality completely, but I trust him enough not to be a jerk and get kicked out of a game. Let's just say that.
Well, can I ask Jarrell quickly? Like, I mean, I don't want to put this out there, but if the Knicks, let's say, series is tied 2-2, and in game, well, we're up 2-1 in the series. In game 4, Knicks are losing bad by 20, and Randle already got a technical foul in the first half. At the end of that game, he.
Oh yeah. No, what not? That's just
what I mean?
I see what you mean.
Like, there's some context to it, you know what I mean?
It's definitely context. If you do get kicked out of a playoff game, it's definitely context to it. Like, everything happens for a reason. Like, I don't expect if somebody punches Randle in the mouth, I don't expect him to just sit there and smile.
No, we know,
Yeah.
So like, it has to be a reason why. Like, it has to be a crazy reason why he got kicked out. Let's just say that.
I mean, I trust him for the most part. I definitely trust him to perform well. I know there's some people going into the playoffs and worried about his performance. Right. I'm not worrying about how Randle is going to perform in the playoffs. And I do trust him, but I'm a little concerned if things get tight. Things get really tight. And I'm not even talking about turning the ball over. That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about things get tight and it's not going our way. And he's not the same thing that's been happening. Right. He's not getting the calls. I am a little concerned that he may go over the edge a little. And yeah.
One thing I don't know
if at an inopportune time. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that
when it comes to trust, right? With me, I don't trust the other players on the team to not affect them if he does act up sometimes, though, because it's a young team. I don't know how Grimes is going to react in the playoffs if Randle does something like that. I don't know how IQ is going to be affected. You never know.
Just something like what
exactly.
So
everybody else will show up. So Smoke, you right. So basically, So the smoking Nick is right.
What do you mean? But Jarrell, hold on. But what do you mean? Like how the other players are going to react to like the situation with Quickly, where they try to hold him back and he?
Yeah, kind of like that. You try to hold him back in the playoffs. If something happens like that, how will it affect them after that?
I think the Knicks don't.
In the game, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
their play. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
play.
answer the question. How they play? Okay.
Yeah, how they play.
How they play. Okay. Because the Knicks don't have a player like, and this is what me and Steph been saying all season. Patrick Beverley, like a player like that, that can like stop him and get in his face that he's going to respect like that.
Right.
Quickly was the first one to do it this season that I saw, and Fournier off the bench. But as far as how they play, I mean, the Knicks play well. I mean, after the Randle thing yesterday, it's not
Randle
like they
played well himself.
Yeah, Randle played well himself. It's just that we couldn't get stops.
See, stuff like that happened with Quickly. That being the first time bothers me. Somebody should have been did that.
Somebody should have been. But just real quick.
So that's why I thought. So that's why I thought, just real quick for you, that's why I thought that it does affect them if nobody's stepping to them.
Right.
Because that's how that usually works.
Right.
They're so young, though. Like, I feel like.
The Pat Bev thing is that's one of the things, too, that I bring up and people often don't necessarily hear the point. The thing is if you had a Patrick Beverley, you wouldn't have to have Randle doing these things.
Yep.
Randle.
I agree with that 100%.
If you had Pat Bev, Randle wouldn't have to do it. But since we don't have that guy, Randle is standing up for himself and the team.
He has to be
the best player. And so that's why
I don't see Pat Beverley going to the officials.
What? Queen, what?
Oh yeah,
Queen.
Oh yeah.
He grabbed the reporter's camera and showed the official the foul. He took he grabbed the camera and said, "Look,
Steph, know what it is? He's just not big enough to intimidate them like Randle can."
Okay,
that's pretty much the difference. But he do talk about the the officials all the time.
That's just one of the things. One of the things is when your star is also the enforcer, you get these weird moments. Right. It's the same thing that used to have to happen to Charles Barkley in Philadelphia in the early 90s. When your enforcer is also the best player, you get these odd one-off situations where it looks like your star has gone rogue. And that's what Julius Randle is. But if you had a guy on this team that can do that and let Randle just play basketball, you wouldn't have these moments. That's why I'm saying that Randle in these moments, you have to sit him down to get him to stop him from hurting himself, and then hurting the team because the star is not there. That's what I'm ultimately getting at, right? And I'm not trying to pound the table. I'm not saying Julius Randle is crazy. I love Julius Randle. I think he's probably the best free agent acquisition that we've ever made for the entire, as long as the franchise has been here. In the 77 years, Julius Randle is the best free agent acquisition we ever made, right? But the thing about that, though, is things come along with that. It's like when you in the airport and you got 2 weeks worth of the baggage and you late for your flight. You drag in 2 weeks worth of the baggage with you and you running late, bro. That is what it's like for Julius Randle on a night-to-night basis. And sometimes Jalen Brunson come help him, and then other nights when Jalen Brunson is not there or there's a mismatch, then you get these things with Randle. That's what I'm saying.
I think he's gotten more help this year than in than in years years past.
That's why it took this long, Steph.
Huh?
I said that's why it took this long.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. It's happened twice. So I don't want to get it. Oh, he's been dragging the team the whole year.
Right,
I mean, he's been getting support.
Josh is right though. It took this long because that dude wasn't getting breaks. Tibbs is playing him to death. Uncle Fulio was right. Right? You got to give these dudes breaks during the season, not because so their body can heal, but so they can get a mental break, man.
Yeah, I'm more for it for that reason. That's why I'm a fan of.
I agree with Josh on that. I think that was smart when he said that, man.
Depending on the player, that definitely could be the case. It just depends on who he is.
I think RJ needed too. even though he missed
RJ
some
just
games.
RJ
needs to
is
play
12
better.
years
I don't know.
old.
RJ
know what
don't
I
need no breaks, free.
Crazy. Listen, RJ's that's a whole other.
No, that's a different. That's not the same sandwich at all.
Are we gonna actually start talking about somebody else that can affect the game and not the only person? You know, it's 11 other people that play, right? Or it can
For Tibbs, it might be 7 other
possibly
people
play.
that play.
Might be 7.
Seven.
Right. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about Quentin Grimes and you know his how he's played this week, particularly the last 2 games. Do you think those were just good games for him? Do you think he's crossed over? And what does it mean for us in the playoff if he's able to continue to shoot as well as he did? And let me just show off my little slide, though. Then we can get back to look at
That's
that.
what's up. I see you, Steph, with the slides. I see you.
And then we can get back to the panel. Talk to me a little bit about. I mean, there's so many questions I have about Grimes, but I guess we could start with, you know, what you've seen for him this season. You know, your thoughts on him overall and your thoughts on him this past week.
I think Grimes is he's just a second-year player coming to his own. He's going to be inconsistent. His shot going to be everything about a player in his second year is inconsistent for the most part, unless you're a superstar coming in. Like Grimes had to work for everything that he's ever gotten, especially when he came to the Knicks. Like, I don't expect him to have 25 every night. I think it would be kind of crazy to expect that going forward, you know, just because he did that with Orlando. I think it's everything for him to play like that in the playoffs. That means everything for us. Like, that takes a lot of pressure off a lot of people. Mainly Julius Randle. He wouldn't act like that if Grimes scored 25 every night. That actually had help sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean,
yeah, like
he did last night. He did last night.
Yeah, he did last night. You're right. But like Grimes, I don't have any problems with Grimes, but it's not like I'm overly confident in his play yet either. He's inconsistent second-year player. Like, I don't expect anything, you know, great to come out of him yet. Like, I just hope he just takes little steps going forward. Just the end of the season, starting to come to his own a little bit with a good shooting game, and hopefully he'll be ready for the playoffs.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment
Bless
on?
you.
Thank you.
On Josh.
I think Quentin Grimes is the Knicks' best catch and shoot 3-point shooter, right? And I think in their offense, they're going to need that because of the amount of isolation that they play. Now, throughout the course of the regular season, the Knicks are not that great from 3 overall. And I keep bringing it back to this. I compare this team to last year's Dallas team. Heavy isolation, you know, middle of the pack to bottom of the league in 3-point shooting. They got in the playoffs and were lights out from 3. I can see a world in which the Knicks, that could be the Knicks. And Quentin Grimes is going to be their main 3-point guy getting hot from 3. And that's going to take them so far. Quentin Grimes is one of my favorite players on the team. I love the fact that, you know, he can shoot the 3, knock it down from time to time. But also his defense, defending the opposing team's best wing or guard. I think that's really important for the team as well. So I think, you know, Grimes is a keeper. You know, anything short of us getting that star player in a trade, I think Grimes is going to be a keeper for this season, though. It's really hard to say because as much as what the Knicks have not been doing this regular season shooting the 3, I can see a scenario where the Knicks are knocking down a 3 and are very hot in the first couple rounds of the playoffs with Quentin Grimes leading that charge. So hopefully he can keep it up. If that makes sense. I know I said a lot.
Yeah. No, it does. Freezy, have you converted the ham sandwich?
No, for one, I have always liked Quentin Grimes. I just never like the narrative that this dude is Klay Thompson Jr. as a rookie. That's the reason why I called him the ham sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Like, relax, people. This dude is not Klay Thompson yet, right? But listen, here's my thing. I think Grimes and Quickly have turned a corner, and their value to this team is a lot higher than what a lot of Knicks fans give them credit for. Now, Grimes' defense has taken a significant step back, but it's not because his effort is back or because of poor fundamentals. It's because now Grimes is getting more assignments on better offensive players. Like when there is a Kyrie out there or a Ja or something like that, you can see Tibbs go, get him, Grimes. Like last year, he could do it in spurts, right?
Right.
This year, this dude's the numbers say he's significantly worse, but you see him taking more possessions. I think it's akin to a lockdown corner in football, right? Like where you put Darrelle Revis on every great receiver in the game. Now, is he Darrelle Revis equating to NBA? But no, not yet. But you could see Grimes getting better every day, and you're seeing other teams' offensive players treating him differently. Like they're pulling out their best moves on him. They're not laughing when Grimes get on them now. Now they respect Grimes more, and they respect the Knicks scheme more. Now we get beaten other places like our Josh Hart, RJ Barrett. Their defense has been Jalen Brunson. Their defense has been awful. But in terms of Grimes 3-point shooting has been really good here of late. Right, I still think he passes up too many shots, but where he is coming into his own is his playmaking, attacking closeouts, going to the rim, finishing at the rim, setting up bigs at the rim on his drives to the basket, which makes teams also knowing that he will put the ball on the floor. They give him the space for three, right? So his game is becoming more well-rounded.
Right.
I don't know for sure, and I don't want to speculate. You know, I've been saying it for a few months now. I think in about a year and a half, 2 years, I think Grimes on this team will have a Paul George, Kawhi Leonard type impact on the Knicks, like where he can do things on the perimeter that you don't often get. But I think that's a year and a half, 2 years away. That's the reason why I'm always saying slow down on Grimes. Don't rush him and don't let him develop naturally, organically on his team. So if we're talking about what Grimes' impact is going to be the end of the season and into the playoffs, what I would say is I would rather depend on Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and them for this run and let Grimes continue to grow. And then as we get to next year and going forward, then I could see that shift more towards Grimes, because I think Quentin Grimes is better than Josh Hart right now, right? But what I don't want to do is rush him to his moment, and then I don't want to microwave it and then ruin it, is basically what I'm getting at. So do I believe in Grimes? Yes, I believed in Grimes for a long time. Do I believe in Quickly? Yes, I believed in them for a long time, right? What's their impact going to be in the playoffs? I think they should just stay on this natural progression that they're on and allow the Randles, the Brunsons, the Harts, the Mitches to carry this year and see how far we can get. And then going forward, basically the future is bright for Grimes and for Quickly. Now, there's somebody else, another young player, that I don't think the future is bright for, but we'll save that for another day.
But Freezy, you think he's better than Josh Hart right now? Or you think he has a better skill set than
he better than Josh Hart. He better than Josh Hart. He better than Josh Hart. Josh Hart is a veteran that knows how to play, and he's and the thing is the thing that's slept on is Jalen Brunson has only been here for about 70 games, about 70. He's been with the team. This is his first year here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Brunson had already had a rapport with Josh Hart. This is Jalen Brunson's first time playing in the backcourt with Quentin Grimes. They have to build a rapport together. The longer they stay together, the better those two will get together. But Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson already knew each other. You know
I hear you. No, I hear you. It's just hard for me to say somebody is better when they're not doing it on the court because they're still growing into their position. But I agree that he probably does have a higher ceiling, and I agree that he may even pass him next year. But it's just hard for me to say right now.
Josh Hart is a 9-point. They average the same thing for their career. And who's a better defender?
In terms of what they do on the court, Freezy, when you look at the impact on the game, I just think right now Josh is having a better impact on the game than Grimes, and it could be because of role as well.
Right.
You know, Grimes' role is pretty limited, and his minutes is pretty limited.
I think he's having a different impact. It just looked different.
I think both can be true. Both can be true. I think.
Yeah, because if Josh Hart was the starter and Grimes was coming off the bench knowing he was in limited minutes and could give all his energy for 20 minutes, I think we'd be saying, man, why is Grimes not starting?
Okay. All right. Your ceiling, what do you think Grimes' ceiling is?
I think Grimes will probably be a borderline all NBA. All NBA defense type of player. I think he in say a couple of years will definitely be a 40% 3-point shooter, which is rare. You don't often get the term 3-and-D is a false statement. We say it all the time.
Yeah,
but great 3-and-D guys are either great at defense and good at 3, or great at 3 and decent or good at defense. But they're never great at the same time. Those type of guys, the Paul Georges, are so rare that like you probably only 2 dudes in the league can be elite at defense and elite at 3-point shooting. And I think Grimes has the potential to be in that category. And for that reason, the Knicks are taking their time with Grimes because they see that potential in him. And it's the reason why he's still the starter over a guy that started for the most part his entire career on other teams.
So Klay Thompson.
Basically, that's what I got.
But not right now though.
Yeah, not right now.
Ceiling.
It's about ceiling.
Yeah. Something like that. Now, I'm not going to say he's the greatest because Klay Thompson is one of the greatest shooters to ever breathe breath. Right. But I'm saying somewhere in that rarefied air, right? But just because you're in that rarefied air don't mean you're at the mountaintop. You're at the precipice. You're just in the conversation, right? That's what I'm saying. Like elite D, elite 3, but not Klay Thompson.
Right.
Klay Thompson he's been on some all defensive teams, and we already know he can shoot from the 3. So, but this is pre-injury. Obviously, now he's not the same defensive player. I don't think his shot still has been that good this year either. So pre-injury,
right. Klay was different pre-injury.
And just one other thing, just as a finisher, just as a little sauce for the steak, just as a little finishing wine for the dinner. I think Quentin Grimes may have the highest basketball IQ of our normal rotational guys, right? But since he is a young player, he has to play along with guys that are already established. But the dude's basketball IQ is tremendous. It's just, to me, I think Emmanuel quickly has the highest defensive basketball IQ on the team. But Quentin Grimes, I think, Quentin Grimes and IQ, I think, are smarter basketball players than I think we give them credit for. Now, is their shot always consistent? No, because they have to. These guys are still young and they're still working on their NBA bodies. Like the way Julius Randle looks right now, he didn't look like that until year 4, right? Julius Randle did not look like he looks now until year 4. Julius Randle looked like with the Lakers, he was like 270 something and had some love handles, right? But now, and so ultimately, what I'm saying is I think Grimes is going to make y'all so proud towards the end of next year and going forward that people are going to start rocking Grimes jerseys. I'm telling you, this dude
I agree
is
with
going to be
here.
a tremendous Nick.
I
right?
agree with,
but it just takes time, and let's not rush it.
Right.
On the IQ part,
I don't think anybody is rushing it, and I don't think anybody disagrees.
Oh no, they rush it. Maybe not y'all, Queen Bee. I'm saying overall.
They've been calling him Klay Thompson for a minute.
Yeah, that's the reason why I said ham sandwich.
I haven't heard that in a minute, though.
Yeah, dude told me he was Ray Allen with defense in his rookie year. The dude had played 10 games. Uncle Freeze, he's Ray Allen with defense. Right now?
No.
Come on, slow down.
People disrespect Ray Allen all the time. I hate that.
Yeah. Shout out to Jay Boogie. Anybody enjoying the tournament at all this week? I haven't been watching March Madness myself.
I'm a North Carolina fan, so it's been a rough. It's been a rough couple weeks. Let's just say that. But yeah, I've been watching.
Anybody else want to comment on Grimes at all?
Yeah, I waited my turn patiently.
I see you in the back.
I think honestly, like, to comment on the question that you asked initially, how did I feel about the last two games? I think he has a stroke. He definitely needs more opportunities, and they don't need to pound the ball as much as they do. And when he open, he needs to be more aggressive and stop thinking about what other people, you know what I mean? Stop always thinking what's the best thing to do, and be a little more selfish and take a little more shots, and then his opportunities and his minutes will go up because he's being more aggressive, you know, because he moves at a different speed that everybody else is moving at the court, especially with the ball in his hands. So I think that, is this the new normal? Nah, because he don't get enough opportunities to make those plays to where he feel comfortable. But do I think that he can show up in vital moments? Yeah, I do. And I think the last two games is not an outlier. It's just a flash of what he can do, as he's been showing since he's been in the league, you know?
Anybody else?
And I think Grimes, Queen, I don't know if you remember a couple of weeks ago, you asked the question, who was going to be the X factor for the playoffs? I think Quentin Grimes is, and my answer was Quentin Grimes. I think he is going to be the X factor if we get into the playoffs. His play is going to make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I expect that from him, but if he does, it changes everything.
It changes everything.
It's RJ. It's RJ AJ.
No, we know we know what we get from RJ. Yeah. We already know what we get from RJ.
No, that's the problem. We don't know what we're getting from RJ. You know what I mean? That is the problem. We don't know. We don't know what RJ gonna show up. We don't know if he gonna feel like he want to defend today, if he feel like he gonna be efficient today. We don't know if he going not get bullied. We don't know if he gonna feel like a bull in the china shop where he just drives to the paint with 3-4 people in it when he got teammates around him and not pass him the ball. There's a lot of things we could talk about with other players, but you know.
Well, we got a few X factors where we don't know. I mean, there's a lot we don't know about. A lot.
I was just saying.
No, but RJ,
and Randle,
we know what RJ. We pretty much know he's not going to be a great defender. We know there's going to be we know there's going to be a couple of times he's going to run and take on the entire other team and think he could do a layup. You know, we know to get those things from him.
Let him finish.
So what I'm saying is we actually know what we're going to get from RJ. It's not great. We know we're going to get 20 points. You know, 18 to 20 points. Inconsistent. He's gonna take 25 shots to make it. We know what we're gonna get from RJ.
But he's been a bit more efficient as of late, and he's been taking less shots as of late. Other than the Orlando game, he's been maybe taking 13, 14 shots a game on better efficiency. He had a bad game against Orlando. We shall see. I think JJ, the inconsistency with Grimes is there are games where he hits the 3-pointers he gets, and there are games in which he doesn't, and it's fine. I mean,
I'm got a lot of opportunities, Queen.
Okay, but there are times when he does, and he's 0-5 and 1-4, and
he's inconsistent.
But that's okay. I'm not banging on him. I'm just saying that
I know.
There's times when he doesn't get as many opportunities. I think one game, was it this week or last week? He only had one shot. So I get it.
The Miami game.
I would like Grimes to grow into, or the Knicks to add, just a knockdown shooter where it seems like every time they get the ball, you just feel like it's going in.
I feel like that. I feel like that with him now.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, even though he misses, like the way he shoots.
You feel like it's going in.
Good. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you feel like it's going in.
But it got to do more than look pretty, though. I say that all the time, man. Like the jumper got to do more than look pretty. It got to actually go in.
Jarrell, what's his field goal percentage? What's his 3-point percentage? I don't know. It's got to be.
It's pretty good. It's 37. But I'm saying 37 because it's 51 game and 25 another game. That's what we're talking about.
I'm not saying that he's a bad shooter. I'm saying he's an inconsistent shooter. Like from game to game, he could either be hot or cold.
Because there'll be times I'm like, we need this one.
Right. Right, but he's definitely a good shooter, though.
But
Yeah.
he
It's
also
the confidence for me, though. It's the confidence for me. I just love the
But
fact
he-
that he keeps shooting.
Right.
It'll
Yeah,
come.
no doubt. No doubt. No
But he
doubt.
also don't get to take those consistent 8 shots a game, right? One game is 1 shot. Next game is 4 shots. Next game it might be 12 shots. Next, so it doesn't give. If he had his set, I get to take 8 shots in this game, no matter the situation. Then that's how you build the consistency and his confidence in hitting them shots, because they look good every time, but sometimes he rush them, and then sometimes he gets to be smooth.
Sometimes he do rush him, like he barely
you
has
can see
it in
it.
his hand.
You can see it.
But I think he's been doing better with that these past 2 games, and maybe that's why he shot better. He didn't seem to be rushing it to me.
No, but sometimes he rush and he hits them though. I don't have a problem with that.
I remember Eru saying the last game that he went to, he saw Grimes and warm-ups. He actually practices getting the shot off that fast. Like they want him to shoot that fast. I don't know why, because I guess because of the closeouts. But they said like Eru said that they was actually practicing like sharp closeouts and him releasing it real fast.
He right. Yeah, I saw the same thing Eru saw.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about releasing it fast. It's just getting set. Like sometimes he just seems like he's barely set. But anyway, I'm good with Grimes.
Like his feet stuff?
Yeah, like his feet is barely set and the ball is going up.
Okay,
it's cool. I like
Grimes. Like he's quick twitchy. Like he's very like
right.
I don't know if it's natural for him to do that, and he has a very high release, so it's never gonna get blocked.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I just something about his jump shot. I just love. I don't know.
Yeah. It looked pretty.
Once it starts,
but you know
though,
what's also very important: the pass. Like whoever's giving him the ball, that the pass has to be in the pocket.
In the pocket,
if it's in that pocket,
right.
He's releasing. I'm confident. You feel like it's gonna go in every time.
Hey, part of that too. I was just real quick to part of what you're saying. Part of that too is that man has got to move towards the ball. Like if the ball not gonna be on the money, come on, dude's passing from like 40 feet away. Position your body and get your body set to receive the pass. You know what I'm saying? Like that ball coming from way over there. You telling me that you can't move, anticipating where that ball's gonna go to get set to get that shot up? I understand what you're saying.
Because he be reaching. He be
right.
You doing all this. It's the reason why Obi's 3-pointer is not as wet as it should be, because Obi's not used to being a shooter. Now Obi will come along with his shot once he anticipates. But I agree with Ed. Come on, man. When you see that pass, bro, come to that ball and catch it in your pocket and then get that shot off. That's just 101 stuff.
Right. Easier said than done, though, huh?
Yes, it is easier said than done.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't have chemistry with certain players, especially when like Brunson is here. This is his first year. You just got Hart here. You know what I'm saying? Hartenstein's first year. So it's give them time. They'll develop these things once they develop chemistry.
Right.
What's the Mavericks? That's a good question about that Mavericks pick.
Yeah.
Well, that thing is top 10 protected, right?
Yeah.
They are currently in the 8th seed. But yeah, the West, nobody's gonna know anything about the West until it's over. Like the
Jesus. Oh my
from
God.
5 to
what a
12 is only like a 1 or 2 game difference.
Right.
So they're in a race they're in a bigger race than we are. Like everybody in the West.
God, 2.5 3 game difference.
Right. The West look crazy. Like you can be in the 5th seed right now and just be completely out by the time the season's over.
Yeah.
There's also the lottery selection, so it can fall outside of that. What was it, top 10 protected or something like that? So the lottery can fall outside of that. So we have no control over that. Neither do the Mavs.
I'm about to say every time I hear lottery, I expect the worst, Josh. Don't expect anything good to come from for us in for the lottery. We're not going to get it if that's the case.
We got the face of the team in the lottery, RJ Barrett.
The golden child.
Oh, come on, man. Why? See, this is
you right.
Bothering me, bro. Like y'all,
this is the open portion of the show. I've asked
it's after 11.
Sorry.
So whatever you guys talk about.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It's after 11, Steph. I don't know. You should have said that.
Yeah, you got me and Smoking Nick up here. You already know anything.
They'll talk to like 2 o'clock.
I'm a dog like they say we won on the team, right? I'm really one of them. A real one. No play.
All right, so let me. Okay,
Go ahead.
Why are we treating Josh Hart as if Josh Hart is the same? Like, why are people not criticizing Josh Hart?
I don't think
his defense has been great.
It's been awful. Yeah.
Yeah, but he does everything else. He can have bad days. I don't think Quickly's defense has been great as of late. The Knicks defense overall hasn't been great as of late. But I agree with you. I don't think it's been great the past few games.
I think Knicks fans suffer from recency bias, right? When we have 10 games good in a row and the same things we see that help us win games, help us lose games, we pretend we didn't see those things in the wins, right? But then we all of a sudden pretend that we see those things in the losses. All these things happen in every game that we watch. All these things. Dudes not playing all the time. Dudes not showing effort. Dudes catching attitudes. You know what I mean? We just pick and choose when we want to call out these things, man. And to answer your question specifically, Freezy, I don't think Josh Hart is a problem. I just think the team hasn't been playing with energy and passion in the past couple of days. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
The fire ain't been there. You're watching that they playing lackadaisical. They look, I don't know if tired or mental health is what we want to call it, or make excuses for these cats or whatever excuses we like to make nowadays for dudes that don't want to do what they're supposed to do, whatever, right? I just know that when I watch it, they don't look motivated. You feel what I'm saying? Whatever, if that's Tibbs' fault, if that's the player's fault, I think it's a combination of both. You know what I mean? But Josh Hart, I think he's been getting fair criticism. He's not that tall, so he's not going to be able to guard those tall wings like we expected and we talked about half the year before we got him, right? You know what I mean? We don't forget those conversations. I'm just saying that he still fits the mold because he's going to be that utility guy that do things that other people don't want to do. So to pretend that just because we had a bad stretch, so the third game winning streak with him doesn't mean that we should panic now. We go on these type of runs. We lose 3 games in a row and then win 8 in a row. This has been like this all year.
Can I say in regards to the defense, the way I look at the Knicks and the way that they're playing defense or lack thereof right now, I look at it from a team perspective. I don't think it's completely fair to single out singular players right now, particularly what's happening with the Knicks right now defensively, because I think it is a breakdown in communication all over the place, from the bigs to the guards. So something's wrong, right? And you could possibly blame the coach. The fans need somebody to blame, right? So whatever. But I just think collectively, collectively as a unit, they're not playing good defense. That's why I don't see it as appropriate to blame Josh Hart for lack of defense.
Right.
Because you and the Smoking Nick are lawyers for Josh Hart. I understand. Y'all got a law firm.
Come on, why you
smoking Josh?
Why you gotta do that though? Why you gotta paint it law?
He's trolling.
Because he want to get that reaction out of you, Smoking. That's all.
Because you called me out. You said we pretend like such and such, and
I
didn't pretend like nothing. What I said was what I saw. It was brought to my attention by a viewer. They were like, watch how Josh Hart is getting beat off the dribble by guys his size in this Sacramento game.
Okay.
And then so when I wish somebody was attendance at this Sacramento game so they can help.
I went to the game. I was at the game.
So
there you go trolling me again because you know I was there. So you're funny. I like that.
So what I'm getting at is Josh, and listen, with today's rules and everything set up for offense, it's hard for guys to get to be elite defenders because you can't hardly touch a guy or all these things on a perimeter. Like they call more fouls on the perimeter than they do going to the basket. And that's probably why one of Julius Randle's beefs, right?
And you put a parenthesis on it, Freezy.
But the
even
thing
when
is,
you're defending good, you still get penalized.
Right. But what I'm saying is I don't want to bang on Josh Hart for that because he's done other stuff that surprised us since he's been here, like his ball creation, like Josh Hart playing doing some playmaking stuff on offense is a pleasant surprise, right? So I'm not banging on Josh Hart saying he's a bad player. What I'm pointing out is just these couple of things that we see when Josh Hart, and this is not team defense, this is just Josh Hart and the offensive player. They size Josh Hart up and they go right by him. This is not team defense. Going forward, if you think I'm making this up, look for yourself. When Josh Hart and because we used to say it about RJ Barrett, they go by RJ, and I didn't know at first if they were wanting this to funnel them towards Mitch, or if these guys just couldn't stay in front of their man. Either way it goes, it's concerning to. Oh, go ahead, bro.
Can I ask you a question? I just got a
You
quick
got to be
question.
on the camera smoking it.
Oh, sorry.
And I'm not sure if you got the message.
Sorry. I just got a quick question. Was Josh Hart known to be like a solo defender before we acquired him?
Yes.
A lockdown one-on-one defender
between
or a
lockdown
team
and solo.
defender? Well, solo and lockdown is the same thing, you know?
Huh?
Right. Was he known to be a good one-on-one perimeter defender
but good and lockdown are two different things. That's the point that I'm getting at. Like, being a good defender doesn't mean, like, Antonio Cromartie was a good corner, but he was not Darrell Revis.
All right, I'll say this. I agree with you about Josh Hart getting beat one-on-one, but he's not the only one that's been getting beat one-on-one as of late when you watch the games. And I'm not sure what's going on with the Knicks. If their legs are heavy, I'm not sure what it is.
Right.
But I've seen Josh Hart get beat, but I've seen a few other Knicks players get beat a bit more consistently as of late as well. I'm not sure. Oh, well, that's always the case. I think, what I've noticed the last time Brunson played was even the resistance wasn't there. So I don't know if he's not 100%.
He's been the worst defender in the NBA since March 1st, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
And that's statistically backed. He's been, but we know why that is. It's the accumulation of injuries and him trying to come back too fast, probably. That's what I'm blaming. That's what I'm trying to give him. I'm trying to throw him a lifeline.
Yeah. I don't think he's a great defender, but
you mean without the injuries though? He's not a great defender without the injuries.
No, but I don't think he is. But I think he will try and he'll put in the effort. He's not going to be like a slacker. He'll try. He'll put in the effort. He'll try to fight over screens or whatever. But because of his size, I think that's an issue. But I also think, listen, get with Fred VanVleet. Like, what is Fred VanVleet doing? Like, get with him over the summer. Talk to him. Listen to, look at the tape and see what these guards that don't have a lot of foot speed, that's small, what are they doing to be successful on the defensive end? I think there's some improvement that he can make. That's what I'm saying. I think he can improve.
Okay. Definitely.
Yeah.
Somebody said RJ's been a bobblehead on defense.
I think RJ's defense has been better as of late, and the stats bear it out since the All-Star break. It's been better. Has it been great? No, but it's been better.
RJ is a cone, literally a cone.
He's like a chair now, like he's a little better.
He's like a chair.
Yeah, not a cone. He was a cone before the All-Star break. He's just a little rocking chair.
A smidgen more of an obstacle. Okay, I understand.
He has been better since the All-Star break.
He's been better since.
I don't depend on him to do much. I
not much.
On RJ to do
I
much.
agree with you, Julio. We don't do that much.
Yeah, I appreciate what he's doing. I'm not knocking him for whatever. I'm off that train. Right. I just expect him to be a role player, and he's playing well in his role. I'm cool with that.
Right. Which is most of the players on the Knicks.
Right.
Play well in your role. That's what we need. Whatever your role is, play well in your role.
Cool with that.
Anything else?
Keith Turner says that he doesn't see Grimes as a starter. I absolutely disagree. I think one of his reasons was he doesn't think Grimes as a two guard is going to lead us anywhere to a championship. Grimes is a role player. If you replace him with Josh Hart is a role player. He's not leading us anywhere to a championship, right? So I just disagree with that notion. I think you're looking at it all wrong. For me, if the Knicks trade Quentin Grimes and RJ and get a better two guard, I wish we had Donovan Mitchell, but get a better two guard or three in that spot right there, I think this is a different Knicks team. I think we're guaranteed 50 wins. And I think we're guaranteed to get out of the first round, but we're not, right? So we have those guys as roles, and they got to step up in their role. But make no mistake about it, they're not leading us anywhere. They're just role players. Right.
But I agree that I don't I think he's a year or two, maybe a year away from being a starter. But on our particular team, well, on our team, he has to start, right?
No,
I mean,
they got Josh Hart. They can put Josh Hart in there.
But that's just, to me, that's just moving the chairs around on the deck.
Quickly could have been starting over him too, and then
that too.
That too. If you're gonna start Josh, to me, it doesn't make a difference whether you start Grimes, and I get it in terms of
right.
You know, I get your point, and it's fair. You know, we need the perimeter defense, but to me, when I'm saying he's not a starter, I'm just saying when I look at that 2-guard position,
right,
on a really good team,
right,
you need somebody that you can count on to knock them shots down that he gets, and I just don't think he's there yet. But for this particular team, he's the best. You can argue that he's the best we got at that position, unless you want to put Quickly at the 2. So yeah, I mean, I think he's a starter for this team, but just in the full scheme of things, no, I think you should have somebody a little better than Grimes at that position.
Well,
but
I'm looking at the contenders. I'm looking at the contenders around the league. I mean, the 2-guard. I mean, who we got? Philly. Philly is what? Harden. Harden's playing point guard now, is he? So, what 2 guards are we really talking about? Like,
and how do you learn how to be in that position?
Whoever it is, I believe they better than Grimes. He's a second-year player who's only playing like 100. Who's only played like 100 in 4 games.
Thank you.
And who misses? And I'm not talking about his ceiling. I'm a big fan. I think he's going to be great. I think he's the shooting guard of the future for the Knicks. So I'm not banging on that. I just don't think he's there yet.
Well, outside the shooting, outside the shooting, how many of those other 2 guards are guarding the opposing team's best player? How many of those shooting guards are doing that? I think that's important too, though.
I'm not taking that away from him. Shooting guard. It's in the name.
He's the best shooter on the team.
Hold on.
That ain't saying much.
Hold on.
He did say on this team, on this team.
Hold on, Freeze. I'm sorry. How long have we begged for development and players to be developed and get the minutes that we want them to get? And he's getting the development, the minutes, the situations, the circumstances to evolve and become that player. And now we're saying we want to put him in a different position because he might not be ready. We're putting him in a position where...
Listen.
So we play both sides is what we're saying right now?
Well, you putting all of us in the same group, right? Because I was never one calling for the young players to start and get more times. I was always calling for play your best players.
Okay.
That's me.
Okay.
Grimes could develop the same way on the second unit if we had a better shooter. He can develop on the second team as long as he gets minutes. You know, that's the thing about development. You know, I'm just saying, listen, if we had a better shooter at that position, the Knicks would have 50 wins already.
I agree. But I don't think it's literally his fault because he plays better defense. It's literally we and not we. What I perceive it as is that we blame the people that contribute and don't blame the people that don't contribute. That's how I perceive it.
Who are we blaming?
What I mean is, like, Grimes contributes in other ways besides scoring all the time, right? So him slowing down the offenders, maybe it might not be every night but you know, it's a contributing factor. You know, he's playing his part. Then when he's on the bench, another person plays their part. So he contributes. He's not a cone out there getting blown past like or RJ or a Brunson. So he's actually filling in a need where these dudes don't fill in at all.
Listen,
I'm not beefing.
I'm not arguing with you. I totally agree.
I'm saying in general.
I totally agree, but I'll tell you what. I'll take a little less defense for somebody that can knock down those shots that Grimes do get.
Queen values the offense more. She values that part, the shooting part, more than the rest of the stuff.
But you can't be a cone, though. You can't be a cone. Like, but I would take a little less defense, a little less for the shots that he does get. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh man, had that went down, had that went down, had that went down.
I think Queen,
he'll get there.
I think Queen wants Evan Fournier back in the lineup.
No, but it's not just that. But if you're not picking Quentin Grimes over the best two guards in the league, right now. So what are you talking about?
But we don't got the best two guards in the league on our team, so we got to talk about what we have.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm all for keeping them in the list. You start Josh Hart, you bring them. I mean, what?
Yeah, they're playing.
Just
don't matter.
rearranging the decks, the chairs on the
they're
deck.
playing the same amount of minutes. Who cares who starts at this?
Yeah, Josh Hart ain't an NBA starter.
Can I ask a spicy question in regards to this? How would you feel comfortable if the Knicks had this lineup right now, everyone healthy? Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, Cam Reddish, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson.
Cam Reddish?
Yeah.
Maybe not
Donovan
Cam
Mitchell.
Reddish, but if you put
hey, Uncle Fulio,
what's your question?
I'm good.
Hey,
as soon as you said Donovan Mitchell, I
boy,
don't even care about Cam Reddish.
I need to know the question.
57
I
said, how would you feel? How would you feel with a little bit of context? How would you feel with a lineup? Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, Cam Reddish, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson.
And Jalen Brunson together?
I asked the question because Donovan Mitchell trade. You're talking about probably RJ and Quentin Grimes gone in that trade. With
I love Spider, bro.
Trade fillers or whatever. Cam Reddish would have got his time that he'd been asking for because we didn't need to fill that 3 spot. And then you have that. And then you still have potentially, if you want to bring in Josh Hart, you still have other pieces you can move. You still keep Deuce. You still keep Quickly. Then what we're talking about?
Well, the answer to the question.
Yes.
No, hold on.
Donovan Mitchell. You didn't have to bring Cam back if you didn't want to.
No.
Like, I know you try to throw Cam in there because we like him. But as long as you said Donovan Mitchell,
I said him because hold on, real quick.
We would have had to give up.
Nobody else would have been left.
They would have cried about our perimeter defense all season, fam. I'm telling you, they too little. They can't guard bigger guards. That's all
I don't care about that.
Smoke. What's going on in Cleveland right now?
Number 1 defense.
With 2 short guards.
Yes.
It's how you build out the rest of your roster.
No, but I'm talking about what we would have been talking about, not what's going on in Cleveland. See, let's talk about that. I'm being specific.
But the point is, you get the star in the building, and then you build around him, over time. But to your point, Josh, hold on. To your point, Josh, that's why I disagree with a lot of people who felt like the roster would have been stripped. We would have still had, Mitch would have still been here. Randall would have still been here. They didn't even want Fournier. Those guys would have still. We would have had a lot of players left.
Yep.
And the players that we didn't
and they
have
probably would have went out and got Josh Hart sooner.
And this is the problem that I was saying
to fix up the roster, to patch holes.
We overhype the players that don't need to be overhyped, and then we undersell the players that need to be overhyped.
And who was
my whole problem?
Who would Smoking Nick? You got to be on the screen. We trying to level up the show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what I sent that out on the thing. We trying to level up the show. Okay, here we go.
No,
that's
I'm
this is my.
We overhyping, and who the plays we not? Sorry, Freezy.
Yeah. I was just gonna. The Smoking Nick is my heartstring, by the way. Y'all know Smoking Nick. That's my.
I love you too.
That's my guy. That's my guy right there, man.
I'm sorry, Steph. I no disrespect. You know what I mean? I understand. I don't want to show everybody my extracurricurricular activities. I can't control.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm a Julius Randle type.
You can't make the show that day if you feel like you can't.
My self-control impulses is kind of low. I'm a Julius Randle type. You feel me? Just so y'all know. You know what I mean?
Julius Randle has gotten much better. I'm expecting, over the course.
Yeah, that means you have improvements next season. Smoking. That's what
we want Smoking to be a star. We trying to get you to be a star, baby boy. Keep your face on the screen.
Right.
We try a star.
We need improvements from you, like Julius Randle in the playoffs, brother.
I appreciate that, man. I'll cool my Jets, man. I'll cool my Jets.
But who are we hyping up that shouldn't be hyped up, and who are we undervaluing? You think?
So, I'm not gonna live in the past and talk about my past experiences and my PTSD with Knicks fans, right? Because I got PTSD with Knicks fans, and I've had a lot of arguments. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna equivocate or push that on y'all, right? What I will do is this, right? There's a lot of people that skate under the radar that don't be doing nothing, and then there's a lot of people that get scot-free. Do I want to specify? No, I do not want to specify, right?
All right. Well,
you want me to specify Fulio?
We were talking about,
you just
yeah, man, you gonna do all that?
All
What
right.
you talking about?
I thought you was talking about we're overvaluing Donovan Mitchell and undervaluing players on our own team.
I don't think we was overvaluing Donovan Mitchell. I thought that Donovan Mitchell and Brunson was going to be a good tandem, right? Because you got one that can dominate in the post when he wants to and do his thing, and then having to do like Donovan Mitchell, that's an inside-out player, you know, that's a true superstar, was going to open mad things up because they focus on him. And then we got dudes like Randle and Brunson to go crazy. We already see what they could do together. Just imagine if we have a true superstar, right? Like everybody been saying. I think the problem is that everybody overvalued RJ last year, and they caped for him so much that you and a lot of people don't understand that these pods are popular now, right? And our voices actually mean something. So when we was crying and caping and crying for that man, the front office was like, yo, son, if we trade him, we got to be on suicide watch. So it kind of played a factor into the fact that then people want to complain now. Why did he get all this money? First of all, y'all cried about an inefficient 20 points when he wasn't doing no defense. He wasn't assisting. He wasn't doing nothing but getting 20 points. Now he getting the same 20 points, and we won't even talk about it. Matter of fact, we talk about other things because we gotta ignore it. So that's what I be talking about. It's like y'all caped for this dude so we wouldn't get Donovan Mitchell. Now we don't got Donovan Mitchell, and y'all won't even hold RJ truly accountable for not being that piece that Donovan Mitchell should actually be.
So let me
I think a lot of
I'm not talking about y'all, I'm talking about the whole Knicks community as people be talking about.
Oh, right. That's what I'm saying. I would just phrase it differently because I said at the beginning of the season that I'm apathetic to this season, whatever happens. Basically, for the older crowd, they'll understand what I'm saying when I say que sera, sera, right? So if you're in your 30s or your 40s, you might not understand what I'm saying, but whatever happened will happen. Yeah. Whatever will be, will be. That was my approach to the season because I felt like the Knicks should have traded for Donovan Mitchell. When you have the opportunity to trade for a star, you have to strike while the iron is hot, whether you think he's a fit or not, because some guys are a fit for a system and some guys are the system. And when you get a Donovan Mitchell is your system, right? You don't legit be like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna trade for Lawrence Taylor or Derek Jeter because I don't know if they fit my scheme.
Right.
Derek Jeter and Lawrence Taylor are your scheme.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so
a lot of Knicks fans were saying that. Oh, they don't fit. I'm like, fit what?
Fit? What do we have?
No, you got to fit around them.
How you gonna say he don't fit and we won 37 games with Alec Burks at point guard?
I bet I can find a jersey to fit him.
I bet guaranteed. And Jarrell, you know what I'll do? If I can't find a jersey that fit, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to burn all the jerseys and create them for Donovan Mitchell. That's what I'm going to do.
But Freezy, what they did was, since they didn't want to hold RJ accountable, you know who RJ became? RJ's the new Julius Randle. They play exactly alike when they don't play nothing alike if you watch the games, right? But these are the narratives people create because they want, and my man's not playing good that I thought would be playing good, and he's not playing good, so I got to pull this other guy down with him, right?
Okay.
That's exactly what's been going on.
Can I give you some advice on that? Because I used to like fall into that trap a couple years ago, particularly with this RK thing. I just stopped paying attention to it. So I realized.
Y'all need to get off Twitter.
Yeah, I personally, I stopped paying attention to
Twitter. It's YouTube too.
Yeah, all of it. I'm saying all of it. I stopped paying attention to, and I just stick with my own narrative because
you 100%
as it turns out,
correct.
When it comes to RJ, like I just accept what he is and don't feed into that stuff. And
to be honest with you. Tonight, we've agreed more than we've ever agreed in the past 2 years, my boy.
I know. I'm good like that. So let me just say real quick. That in regards to this Donovan Mitchell thing, 1804 Toussaint, I just disagree. The whole team wouldn't have been gutted Because at
No,
the end of the
it would
day,
not have been.
you still would have had your top
that at?
3 guys,
Hold on.
Mitchell, Brunson, and Randle. You can build a team around that. Easily build a team around that. And matter of fact, the Knicks probably wouldn't even been in the luxury tax. So
and they would have still had draft picks left.
Yep, and
you didn't have. They had 11 of them.
Can I push it back even further?
Bringing in enforcers and someone to come in and fill around that roster. You think players wouldn't want to come play with Donovan Mitchell if we would have got him here with Randle playing the way he's playing? The Knicks would have been
like, we still in the 5th seed now. We might have been in the 4th.
But,
or the 3rd.
Or 3rd.
What happened when
or
we
3rd?
had,
Or 3rd.
But there was a conversation before a Donovan Mitchell conversation. There was the Damian Lillard conversation. And how was people? This is why we did not get these players. Y'all skipping over what the fan base was talking about, right?
The only pushback I'll say with that is Dame Lillard's age at that, like right now. No, hold on. I feel like the Knicks are closer now. Like now, there's no age limit to who you want to bring in because I feel like the Knicks are closer now. You want to bring in Dame, you want to bring in Paul George, you want to bring in a 32-year-old. It's fine. Back then,
what 2
seasons
ago?
Yeah, 2 seasons ago, we was younger than we are now. We still one of the youngest teams in the league.
And Randle, and so the thing about 2 seasons ago is Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson were not as good of a basketball player than they are today.
That's true.
That's the thing that
Lillard, yes.
Yeah, that's the things that we have to. Jalen Brunson today is better than Jalen Brunson was last year with Dallas, right? True. Julius Randle today is better than Julius Randle was his first 2 seasons as a Knick.
Even his all NBA season, I think he's better than that.
He's better now than he was then
NBA
too.
season.
Yeah, let me just shout out Jay Boogie. Appreciate you. If Grimes walked into those games knowing he's going to get 15 shots a night, his offense will be better than what we're discussing now. Stay tuned.
Correct.
Listen, I agree with you. To me, next season, his usage, he should be the 3rd. And let's move RJ down.
Whoa.
You know, as far as usage and shot attempts and things like that. In my opinion.
Yeah, wow.
You got a bomb you can drop, Queen? You need to drop a bomb on that. That was a bomb.
Absolutely. Because you got to think about it. It's a bomb because Grimes averages 8 points. 8 shots a game. So if you're going to flip-flop him and RJ, that is a huge flip-flop. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that is a huge flip. Like
to me, the usage should be tied to the efficiency, not to the paycheck. I just feel like that. I just feel like if you're giving Grimes those some games, lately since the All-Star break, RJ's taking less shots, 13, 14. Prior to that, he was taking 20 some odd shots to get his 20 points.
19.
It wasn't even 20 and or Grimes those shots.
Right.
You're gonna get more out of it, in my opinion.
Right.
But
I actually agree with you. I'm just saying is that's something to say though, because flip-flopping those 2 usages is a big flop. But I do agree with you though.
I don't.
Well, Queen, let me ask you real quick. So do we try to move RJ in the offseason? Listen, they try to move him for Donovan Mitchell, which I don't even understand why the Donovan Mitchell thing didn't happen, but we don't want to go back to that. But do we look to move RJ in the offseason?
1804 Tucson, that was the first, or everybody keeps going back to the first offer that was in the summertime. Before we really got into talks, it had changed since then. Mitch wasn't even in there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, Mitch wasn't in the deal because he was a free agent.
Actually, to your question, I'm not just trying to move him just for nothing. It has to be
right.
Of higher value. So if that player becomes available at a position of need, particularly that 3 or that 2, yes.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. It's going to take more than that, though.
I was about to say.
Right. Long as it's not addition by subtraction.
Queen B, I gotta get out of here.
Okay. Yep.
Hey,
all right, Freezy.
I just want. So first of all, it was a
pleasure.
Freezy,
have a good night, bro.
It was a pleasure hanging out with y'all, man. Y'all already know that you know what I'm saying, my heartstring is the smoking Nick. So regardless if you're wrong or not, I'm sticking up for him. That's my guy. Just keep, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm just joking with that. But I just want to say something before I get out of here real quick. I disagree with the RJ thing. RJ Barrett is the golden child, and he's the future of New York Knicks basketball. So,
Hey, yo,
flipping
Freezy.
usage is
Freezy
not
trolling.
gonna.
Go ahead.
Nah, he the man. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'll holler at y'all later. Thank y'all for having me.
Peace, man.
All right.
Okay.
Rolling.
Love Freezy, man.
Any other topics or any last words if we don't have anything else to talk about?
Look, man, stop being such Debbie Downers. We lose 3 games in a row all the time. You already know the vibe, man. Y'all already
Debbie
know.
down. We're losing 3 games in a row going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
How many games
that's
we got
the
left?
end of the season.
Steph, how many games we got left? Specifically, how many games we got left?
I don't like
7.
So, boom. And people want to be like, oh, we lost 6 games out of the last 4, but we won like 20 in the last like 30.
Okay.
Why we always looking at the glass half empty instead of looking at the glass half full? You feel what I'm saying? Sometimes we gotta look on the bright side. We could not be in this position at all, and we could be in the lottery, and we could not have these conversations at all. That's also a possibility.
But we're past that. And you gotta call it. You gotta call it as you see it. We're always
all right.
Yeah, now that we pass that, I don't even think like that no more.
My only concern would be that consistency from everybody. I'm not worried about attitudes, because if you show me an attitude, you show me you care and you want to win, right? So when a dude loses his cool, that showed me that, damn, he really wanted it, right? When other dudes ain't showing up behind that, I don't know about what they've given. So we want to pinpoint it. And I'm not saying y'all, nobody. I'm saying when you want to focus on one, I want to see that type of passion from other people to the point to where I just want to see the focusedness, the passion, and the excitement. I don't want to see it from just some people or everybody, because I know everybody's personality ain't the same, but I just want to see everybody have that care and that gumption for winning, man. I don't see it from everybody.
Well, Wade's got a question for y'all.
Yeah, and then we'll get out of here. I would be okay with that, but
no.
Deuce dribbles too much for me. I mean, quickly too, but Deuce, he just dribbles. He just, yeah.
I would not have been comfortable with Deuce starting instead of IQ. I think having another ball handler, even though Queen doesn't like the over dribbling, I think having another ball handler on the floor at Randle is imperative, right? And I think IQ is better. IQ is better at that.
And quickly a sniper, bro. Quickly a sniper. He gonna hit them big shots and the big threes. If he open in a timely fashion, he's gonna make that. And you can't really rely on McBride being sporadic. That's the same argument we had with Grimes, the sporadicness. So you gotta, and we talking about accountability, right? So we gotta hold that sporadicness accountable. So I agree with you, Folio.
What Wiz is talking about though has been done by Tibbs though, so I get what he's saying. But I agree with y'all though. But I see why he asked that question.
Yeah, because we've done it with Hartenstein, keeping him in the second unit. But I just think, I like what McBride is doing, but yeah,
not enough.
His time will come.
Yeah. Listen, I'm more nervous about Tom Thibodeau doing what he did a couple of years ago when at game 2 he started Derrick Rose and you know he changed the lineup and instead of Alfred Payton.
We won that game though.
Right.
But we lost everything else.
But the fans beg for that. Y'all think y'all voice don't matter, but the fans beg for him to sit Alfred Payton down.
I don't think that's why he did it.
Hold on, Steph. The only problem was he did it too late, right? He did it in the playoffs when he should have probably did it after we got D Rose.
Listen,
I agree with you, but I don't think the fans had anything to do with it.
I don't think Tibbs be caring about y'all.
You haven't watched these pods and then they doing things y'all talked about the very next day. We was talking about Grimes not touching the ball, and then the next 2 games he touched the ball mad. And
I think it's a coincidence.
You don't see these things happening right in front of your face, my guy.
I think it's a coincidence.
Smoking Nick.
Coincidence don't exist, my guy.
As much as we've been talking about what we want Tibbs to do for the past 2-3 years,
and you've gotten everything I wanted.
No. Tom Thibodeau specifically said we don't watch the games the way like as often he's
Yeah.
he said we don't know what we're talking about. He said it.
And I think it depends on who you're talking to, because if it was up to me, Tibbs would have moved last year. Like I didn't like Tibbs last year. I just came around on him
Just
this year.
because you didn't like him, you think so? Hold on, let me ask you a question. If you go to your job, right, and the first year you get to your job, right, you're the best player. I mean, you're the best person at the job, right?
Mhm.
You get Employee of the Year, right? But then the next year, your year ain't as good as the previous year. You think they should fire you?
They can, depending on the
I think
job.
they should.
Depending on the job, yeah.
All right. Even though you won an award and your accolades was that high, just because you
because
hold on, just because you I'm prefacing it, right?
Got you.
Because you underperformed just a little. Oh, I know what I'm talking. I pay attention, right? So just because you underperformed just a little when you was the best person in the company the whole year, you think you should be fired because you underperformed just a little the next year?
It's not about what you think.
I know you don't believe that, Jarrell.
That wasn't just a little.
You might pretend that you believe that, but I know you don't believe that.
That wasn't just a little. We missed a play in.
Hold on.
That wasn't
how many games did we have?
That wasn't all Tibbs, though. I mean, there was a lot going on. He was a part of it, but you got to think about Randle and how he played that season. You got to think about the injuries. You got to think of there's a lot that that happened. We always want to put it on one person.
That's the job.
Team had COVID. We don't talk about stuff like that.
But that's the job, right? They give Tibbs $5 million. They say, here's the roster. Yes, here's the roster.
No,
here to stay.
No
matter what the roster is.
Come on,
absolutely. They could have picked anybody off the street and given them.
Listen, you cannot.
Absolutely.
You cannot expect a coach to out-coach their roster multiple years in a row. You might be able to do it 1 year or 2 year, but at some point, you have to have the players to get it done. And you can't expect a coach to drag a team over the finish line, just like you can't expect one player to drag the team across the finishing line. Come on now. Let's be fair. I'm not saying he was perfect.
We're not fair. We got unbelievable expectations.
This one is injured. Randle is doing what he's doing, but you still need to get us in the playoffs. Come on.
Also, I think the underrated part is not just about winning. A lot of times it is about winning, but it's also about the development and the 2, 3, 4 year plan that the organization, the coach, and the front office works together to try to accomplish. And sometimes winning may or may not be a part of that in the process. And the Knicks won, 37 games now, not in the playoffs and nothing like that. But I think that part is important too.
I think the problem was this: we overreacted last year because the previous year where we had a good season, we won 41 games, right? And then the next season, we won 37 games, right?
Yeah, the fans are overreacting. You're right about that.
Exactly. So it was a 4-game difference. We act like we won 20 games, right? The 4-game difference is not that big, right? What are we at now?
Given everything that happened,
the circumstances, right? People getting injured, COVID, people getting hurt, Mitch getting hurt. If we talk about the nuance, but most of us we just like to run with narratives. We don't talk about nuance. You get into nuance.
It wasn't just a 4-game difference because the year
it was a 4-game difference. So it was 41 to 37 is what?
No. They played less game that year.
They played less game.
They played less game that year. It's not the same thing.
It doesn't matter how many less games we played that year. The circumstances wasn't the same. We talking about the nuance as we explaining it to you.
You can't compare. You got to compare winning percentage. Okay, winning percentage is what you compare.
AJ's right. AJ's right on that point.
He's not right. He's not.
Hold on. Okay. Real quick. Let me just say this, and I agree with you, SK, from the standpoint of, in regards to fans taking narrative. I said this for 2 years now. I'm going to say it again, and people are going to get mad at me. The same fans who want to call out the national media for creating narratives and creating all this stuff about how the Knicks are doing bad and they just want to do stuff for clicks, the fans do it just as worse, just as bad. They create some of those same narratives. Not everybody, but it's some fans out there that create those same narratives.
They know who they are.
Right, I'm gonna call those fans out for making little stuff into big stuff, right? For overreacting, for the hyperbole. There's a lot of Knicks fans that do that, and I'm calling you out because you are the same people for the most part that call out the national media and Richard Jefferson doesn't like us. Why does Richard Jefferson not like us? Because of some of the stuff that you do, right? You know, I'm not saying, you know, not like your team, but you have to be objective when you talk about stuff and, you know, not going either too far to either side of the spectrum. And a lot of Knicks fans tend to do that. So I just want to call those fans out.
Can I throw a monkey wrench in that? Can I throw a monkey? They don't have the same platform that Richard Jefferson have. That's why they call them out. No, that's so. They don't have the same platform. They don't have the same. They don't have the same exposure.
But he hears the heat that's coming off the plate, man. He knows the temperature of what we're giving off, right? Just because they don't got the same platform doesn't mean his ear not to the street and he don't know what we're talking about or what's being said, man.
Or he don't see them in stadiums where they engage in hyperbole. I don't think that makes that much of a difference.
Yeah, let's save the media stuff to the off season. We got so much to talk about.
I know Queen don't like me to talk about it.
We should have shows. We should have several shows about the
Queen
media.
does not like when I talk about the media because
no.
I mean, it's true though. It's true.
I agree with you. I actually agree with you. I just think there's a line, and you just put everything in together. Because for me, I'm good with whatever the media is saying about the Knicks. If you win, you're going to change that. That's fine. But there's a difference between that and clowning the Knicks, which I think the media has done a lot. That's the line for me.
I agree with that.
But as far as the other stuff is concerned,
they only choose and they only talk about another team and stuff. I've seen a lot of that going on where they talk about us. They'll make like an 8-minute video and then they'll put our name in the title. And I'm talking about main publications, right? They'll put our in the video and they talk about us for 30 seconds and then they talk about another team for like 7 minutes. It's like, why'd you even put our name in the video at all? Because I wouldn't watch this at all.
Get over it. It's New York. Get over it.
I wouldn't have watched. I don't understand why people don't get that either.
You can't get over stuff like that because you're playing with my emotions, man.
Anyway, Jay Boogie, now we're talking. Don't worry, we still in this. But next season, they're not joking. The Knicks are paying immediate attention. We are a piece and a half away. A piece and a half. Half a player. But yeah. Any last words? You had your last words,
man.
I always coming for Smoke Dog because I'm Smoke Dog. I know that, but I'm ready for it. It's all good.
Yeah, salute to the chat, man. It's another great show. You already know how we do.
Before we go, Queen,
AJ, get him, AJ.
I gotta check.
How many we get?
No, we're good, man. We good. I don't know if some of them dropped, but we're on point. We're on par with the amount of watching, so we're good.
Okay. AJ is about to get on y'all likes, man.
Salute to Steph. Salute to the Dope Soul family. Salute to Steph and the fellas on the panel. I just want to say, I think the Knicks are fine. Right now, I'm questioning whether the Knicks were as good as I thought they were. Since they got the Josh Hart trade, I'm really starting to question if the Knicks are back to being mediocre again, right? And no matter what, no matter where we end up, 5th seed, 6th seed, wherever, the playoffs is what's going to really determine the success of this season. So, and how we perform in that first round series. I'm not saying we have to win it. If we go against Donovan Mitchell, of course, there's that narrative there too. You know what I mean?
That narrative too.
But I think it's true, and I think it's because we talk all the time, real quick, we talk all the time about Grimes and RJ at the 2 and the 3 spot, knocking down those 3-point shots. That's very important for us, right? Those are two of the main guys that would have got sent in that trade. And losing to that guy is just not a good look for the organization. So listen, with all that being said, I think this Knicks team will be fine. I think they're just, kind of off base a little bit. I think they'll be able to even themselves out. And I think we'll get the 5th seed. And I'm ready for the playoffs to start, to be honest with you.
I'm ready for the playoffs to start too. I just want us to be healthy, particularly Brunson.
Core Mega, salute, bro. Salute.
Yeah.
Core Mega, yeah.
That's it. Well, Josh, Smoking Nick, Ajay, Jarrell, I appreciate you guys for joining and leveling up the conversation. I definitely appreciate that. Until next time, family.
Sister, you're one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't
Where you at?